Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. My hairs are wet. I just got back from us. Look at guys, my glasses are steaming up because I just got out of the shower because I got back from my sleep study, had some breakfast, washed off all of the things from the sensors. Hopefully, I don't know, maybe there's still some residues left over. I probably need a second shower today to get it all off. It's a lot of stuff, guys. They stuck things all over my body to do the sleepy time study. Guys, we're going to get right into it. This trial is, as you know, wild. And somehow already this morning, I have limited ads. I don't even know what that means, or limited revenue, because somebody has mass reported the stream already. So if you guys could do me a favor and please like the stream, hit the little hearts, all of that kind of stuff, uh, it would help me out very, very much, guys. I don't fucking know. I don't even understand. Okay, we're gonna get started here.
Please be seated.
Good morning, Your Honor. May I proceed?
Yes, please.
Your Honor, before the court today, we have the continuation of the jury trial in the matter of Commonwealth versus Lindsay Clancy. Ms. Clancy is present. She is represented by Attorney Kevin Reddington. The Commonwealth is represented by Assistant District Attorney Jennifer Sprague and Assistant District Attorney Shannon Buckingham.
All right. Well, thank you, Madam Clerk. Good morning, members of the jury. All right. It's nice to see everybody once more under the breach, as they say. We're going to continue with this trial. So I appreciate everybody being here. I'm going to ask those questions, and I'll go a little bit into today's schedule and kind of where we're going to go on this. So first question, has any member of the jury read, seen, heard, or overheard anything from any source about any aspect about this case that would affect your ability to be fair and impartial? All right. Second, is there any other serious matter or concern bearing on your service as a juror in this case that anybody needs to address at this time? Again, thank you so much for following those instructions. And so what we're going to do, as I said yesterday, we're going to continue with the testimony of the doctor who was on the stand yesterday.
YouTube, Rumble,
is the last witness in the trial.
Facebook, and I'm getting the Instagram going
go to the next
right now.
portion of the trial, which is the closing arguments and legal instructions. The court has to make some arrangements. I've got to speak to counsel, so it takes a little while. So I'm going to excuse you at that point and have you come back tomorrow. All right? So we're going to finish the evidence today. We're going to excuse you. I'm going to then deal with counsel, and then we will hopefully arguments in charge tomorrow. All right. So again,
oh my
tell you how much I appreciate everybody's dedication
and
commitment in following those instructions and being here every day. So that's kind of where we are at this point. All right. And so with that, I'm going to ask the Commonwealth if you could have the doctor retake the stand, please.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm going to put it back down a little bit. There we go. This doctor speaks really slow, guys. Yeah, my stream was already mass reported, guys. So if you could do me a favor and like it, that would be great. It's just, yeah. Yeah.
All right. Good morning, Doctor. Good morning. All right. Attorney Sprague.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yesterday, when we left off, you were testifying about the decision-making process of the defendant and what she told you about that. Going to what she told you about the voice and what it said to her, did the defendant tell you if that the voice told her where to kill the children?
No.
Did the voice tell her how to kill the children?
No.
Did the voice tell her what to use to kill the children?
No.
Did the voice tell her in what order to kill the children?
No.
Did the voice tell her where to try to kill herself?
No.
This
Did the
is,
voice
in
tell
my
her
opinion,
in what way to kill herself?
No.
The fact that the voice, according to the defendant, the voice didn't tell her any of those things, but instead just said, kill the kids so you can kill yourself. Is that significant in your evaluation in any way?
Yes.
How so?
Well, in the small amount of time that Ms. Clancy had in the home without her husband, it was important in order to carry this out, as well as her suicide, to do this quickly, methodically, and the like.
did.
And so
Michelle,
this is having no instructions as to how to do it, but being able to execute those decisions, including being able to get a phone call and then return it to her husband in the process of all of this. Certainly the phone call was not expected. That is surprising that she was able to accomplish all of this without any other kind of direction or plan.
That's what happens when your video
Does that
looks
indicate to you that
demonetized
she was
already,
making
where it says
decisions
you're
about
not getting
those
anything
things about
because
where and
people
how
have
and
mass
when?
reported it. Who knows?
For the record, direct examination is leading. I object to have a standing.
Yep,
Yeah,
leading.
What does the fact that she was able to do all of that indicate to you, if anything?
Well, it indicated that she had control of the sequence of what she was doing throughout.
Doctor, you talk in your report about interpersonal psychological theory of suicide. What is that?
Well, that has to do with the decision-making process or the capability for someone who attempts suicide.
And are there 3 parts to that theory?
Yes.
And what are they?
Well, one would
That's all
be
right. It'll be okay.
called aloneness, or the sense of isolation, people not understanding. So that is a real difficult challenge for people to face. They feel that they can't fully share with others. Another is burdensomeness.
If you're not green in the chat, that would mean that if you got gifted a membership, that membership is expired. You can purchase another one.
That is also something that we find
that's
is
what that would mean.
a component to those who make serious suicide attempts
course, Sunrise.
and
Good morning.
completions. And third is what I would call capability. So you can have that sense of aloneness. You can have that sense of burdensomeness. But if you don't have the capability of taking your life, you can be very suicidal, but not ultimately accomplish the suicide. It does not mean that you're not suicidal. But that issue of capability is one that's very difficult because
thank you, Michelle, for
we have a
becoming
natural
a member. Appreciate you.
will to live. And that is the most difficult thing for people to overcome.
The thing that's the most difficult thing to overcome, that's the capability of actually committing suicide. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
And this theory in the 3 parts, did you compare what Ms. Clancy told you and what you saw in the records to this theory and have any conclusions about that?
Yes.
And what were they?
Well, certainly, the documentation from the medical and mental health records demonstrates that sense of isolation she felt, even in the company of others. That sense
Michelle.
that she was just having a problem that was difficult for her to understand, difficult for others to understand, and of course the suicidal feelings that came about, and then ultimately those feelings about harming her children. This is not something that she could share. The sense of burdensomeness, she had planned to go
Sir,
back
didn't
to
you
work,
just finish? Chewini.
as she had for her
Thank
first
you.
2 children, Cora and Dawson.
Thank you for becoming a
and
member, Chewini.
The time that she was expecting to go to work kept extending because she just did not feel mentally healthy enough to be able to return to work and to function. And so in some of the documentation where she filled out concerns and was asked about the kind of stressors in her life, she indicated that financial was one of the stressors that she was encountering. So
like
to believe that her brain
the
had
prosecution
been
just
damaged,
lets
that she was not
the
able to do what she loved,
witnesses,
which was
like,
labor and delivery
pontificate
nursing,
for half
but
an
also
hour.
not in a position to help support the family, really was would be a burden for anyone. And certainly that sense of burdensomeness was something that I believe she was experiencing. And then the last component, capability, I truly believe that her suicide attempt was very, very serious, which is why she employed 3 different methods. The fact that
sir,
use of
as
the
an
knife
expert for the FBI, you should already
lacerations
know,
were
as a profile
not
person,
deep doesn't
apparently
mean
maybe
that she wasn't
not.
intending.
A nurse would
to-
never do
to
any
kill
of those
herself
things.
with a knife, but oftentimes that, as I mentioned, is the most difficult thing. I think the employment of the 3 different avenues.
Isn't there a piece of
locking the
evidence
door,
saying that the knife marks were made
and also
by
not
a
being
left-handed
dressed for
person?
the cold,
And Lindsay is right.
indicate to me that this attempt was very
Speaking, no
serious.
spoilers.
Despite the fact that the use of the knife was not successful in cutting her arms, cutting her neck.
And so, doctor, in terms of the cutting on the arms and the neck
I can't even,
not being
like,
sufficient
my eyebrows
to cause
go as
death,
high
is
up
that what
as
you're
his do.
referring to? Is that as someone faces difficulty or an inability to be capable of actually following through to commit suicide?
Correct.
So in this case, it's your opinion that she was trying to commit suicide but struggling with that 3rd capability issue?
Correct.
Now, you testified yesterday about the intrusive thoughts that Ms. Clancy was having about harming herself in the fall leading up through December into January. And those thoughts at times, would it be accurate to state that Ms. Clancy reported at times that taking Ativan helped with those thoughts?
Yes.
And was there anything significant in your review of the case in terms of her reporting that Ativan helped with those thoughts?
Yes.
How so?
So Ativan is a lorazepam, a benzodiazepine. This is a medication that is very helpful for treating anxiety. It also can help relax people, help them sleep, which was very helpful to Ms. Clancy. And she stated that when she had the intrusive thoughts, taking the Ativan resolved those thoughts. And I think that's significant because it's not a medication. Ativan, lorazepam, is not an antipsychotic medication. It's not meant to treat psychosis.
But it does calm you down.
Feel more calm.
And it can.
And sometimes it's used for people who are having significant symptoms.
Yeah.
But in terms of actually
it does calm your shit down.
Treating psychosis, making a voice go away.
Yes.
It's just not designed to do that.
And doctor, did the fact that the intrusive thoughts went away when taking the Ativan, according to Ms. Clancy, give you further evidence that it was in fact internal thoughts and not an external voice?
Yes.
Yeah. Can we get some people to talk about this?
If someone
who've been through it,
experiencing psychosis and is experiencing
Good
command
morning,
hallucinations,
Laura. Love
can that person still know the difference between right and wrong?
Yes.
How so?
Well, hallucinations, even command hallucinations, when they occur, do not propel an individual to automatically obey them. And in fact, many people will engage in behaviors to stop the actions that the voice is claiming. That's something that makes sense, particularly when the command is
the direct examination here.
So
Shreddington has not had his go yet.
And so against someone's values. So it's possible and common for people to engage in behaviors to avoid doing what a command hallucination is saying.
And doctor, is it possible for someone who is experiencing
that.
psychosis and command hallucinations to conform their behavior to the law?
Yes.
And how so? Is it basically what you were just telling us?
Good morning, Donna. Thank you for being here.
If someone is having a command hallucination to do something out in public, but there is a police officer nearby, it certainly is possible for that person to choose not to engage in that behavior because of the consequences. Even though a voice might be saying this, there's other decision-making going on based upon the environment.
Now, doctor, in your evaluation of Lindsay Clancy, did you come to an opinion to a reasonable degree of medical certainty as to whether or not she was suffering from a mental disease or defect on January 24th, 2023?
Yes.
And what was that opinion?
I believe that Ms. Clancy was suffering from a mental disease or defect. And I felt that based upon the presentation, bipolar 2 diagnosis seemed to make the most sense.
It makes sense. He's a professor, right?
Symptoms of insomnia that she had that were precipitated by the Zoloft. And this was just very, very significant. And while it didn't fulfill all the criteria, or many of the criteria, if she were a patient of mine, I would diagnose her as bipolar 2, because I would want to make sure that any doctor who saw her afterwards would be very wary of using an SSRI antidepressant in treating her.
And doctor, you mentioned the drug effects, Zoloft had an effect, and SSRIs might have an effect. Is there a difference when you're treating someone and they're taking medications between being over-medicated and having an adverse reaction to medication?
Yes.
And what is the difference?
No, you're absolutely right.
Well, when we think about
it is not black
side effects,
and white. Every single person's brain chemistry
is
is
an example
different.
of a medication having a response. Now,
I think it's a psychological
sometimes we
term.
have side effects.
A legal term,
we're
perhaps.
not necessarily over-medicated, but we put up with those side effects. When there is too much medication, certainly we can experience those side effects. For example,
Yeah,
over
anybody
sedation,
could experience side
or,
effects from
there's some
medication that have
medications that can
side
cause
effects.
stimulation, so people are not able to sleep. An adverse reaction is much more serious. An adverse reaction could be, for example, an allergic reaction that could cause death.
Oh, thank you.
Or some type of
I'm clean.
reaction that you don't see in most people, but has been reported. So there is a difference
Apparently,
between
that's a
side
thing
effects,
now that you're
no matter
not
how,
supposed to do. They've mentioned it
difficult they
several
are,
times. I don't know. I have
and
not
what we
read the
call
DSM.
adverse effects, which
Good morning,
can be
Power.
extremely serious.
And in your review of the records of the medications that the defendant was prescribed from September through December, did you see any evidence of her having adverse effects from the medication?
Morning, Angela. Did she?
Well, the insomnia secondary to the Zoloft was very concerning to me. And it would mean not just cutting the Zoloft back, but stopping it. I would say that the Zoloft was in precipitating insomnia. I mean, she reported 48 hours straight of not being able to sleep, that was an adverse effect. And an adverse effect really requires one to stop the medication.
And that is what Dr. Jennifer Tufts did with Ms. Clancy, correct? She had her stop the medication?
Correct.
And in reviewing those records again from September through December of 2022, did you see any evidence that Ms. Clancy was over-medicated?
He's gone into a trance. He's channeling the dead.
She experienced some significant side effects from some of her medications. She was given, I think, nurse practitioner Paul gave her clonazepam, which is also a benzodiazepine.
Yeah,
and she really
that's some heavy duty shit.
Uncomfortable reaction to that. Just woke up and
definitely
felt,
talk to your
confused.
psychologist, psychiatrist about that.
She stopped that medication, understandably. Seroquel is a medication, quetiapine.
Yeah.
That'll
fuck your
high
shit up.
doses can cause some significant
in all doses,
side
sir.
effects.
In all doses.
At lower doses, it generally helps treat insomnia. At higher doses,
didn't for me.
It can have more significant effects. And in terms of just
yes, it's a new technology where you just hold that thing and
ability
and
to
speaking
think
the words
and
instead of having to
organize
type
one's
it on the
thoughts.
fancy little machine.
However, Ms. Clancy,
it's 9 o'clock here now. We're all right.
in December of 2022, chose at that time to continue on Seroquel.
Interesting.
A combination
That's
of
a
Seroquel
good thing to
and
check into.
Valium. Nurse practitioner Gelada had suggested another medication, olanzapine, Zyprexa, which she's taking now. And Ms. Clancy asked that she continue on the Seroquel at that point and the Valium. So
did she?
It's a challenge. One has side effects, but one also sees benefit in the medication. And certainly that combination at that time, I think it was around December 7th.
Exactly,
December 9th,
Miriam.
that was really helping her sleep. And so she asked to continue on those two medications.
Thank you.
So I guess when I ask about over-medication and you talk about the side effects of the medication.
I want to be abundantly clear with that, guys. The way they're speaking about medication and side effects and mental health is so fucking irresponsible, in my personal opinion, okay? I have been on the highest possible dose of medicines. Like when I first started my migraine journey, okay, I was given nortriptyline, which is Pamelor, okay? It's a very old antidepressant. It's no longer even prescribed for depression because it doesn't work for that, but they do use it for migraine prevention. I was on that for 4 years. I got up to the maximum dose. Guys, it took me 6 months to titrate down from the dose that I was on. I didn't get the side effects, but I also didn't get any benefit, right? So that I could switch to the next modality that they gave me. I have tried every single migraine preventative, fast acting remedy, all of the stuff. Okay. To the point where I was on Nurtec every other day as a preventative. And now my neurologist, because that's not working, has now switched the Nurtec to a fast acting preventative because all of the triptans don't work for me. To later today, guess what I'm doing, guys? I'm going to go get Botox, 32 shots over my head and neck. Okay. Whew. And I'm starting a brand new preventative that's a once a month injectable called Emgality. So I couldn't do the other ones. I tried the Qulipta. I had a super adverse effect first dose. And that was an oral one. I tried the auto injectors. I can't do those. I have an adverse reaction to I'm sorry, Katie, wasn't Tim Curry already dead? Am I having a Mandela effect now? I'm pretty sure Tim Curry was already dead. This is a Mandela effect because I'm pretty sure Tim Curry died several years ago. Right. Thank you, Eric. Rika. Yeah. What I'm saying is, guys, is that everybody's different. Because Nurtec works for me as a fast acting remedy for migraines does not mean that it's going to work for you. Okay. I took Lexapro for a number of years as a successful thing. It stopped working. Now I'm on an SNRI for that. But actually, it's not even for the depression. It's for fibromyalgia. So I just switched to it's like a double whammy. Katie, I am pretty sure that Tim Curry, we are in colliding universes right now. I'm pretty sure he already died. We are all talking about the same guy, right? Tim Curry played Pennywise in the original It. Right? Rocky Horror Picture Show. Guys, I am literally having a Mandela effect right now live. I am pretty sure he died a while ago. We are literally in a deja vu moment. I am from another universe and you guys are in this one. I don't know. He and Dolly on the same day. Holy shit, man. All right. Well, we got one more to go. It's always goes in threes.
There seems to be a disconnect between maybe what a layperson calls over-medicated versus what the medical definition of that is. So is what you're saying that being over-medicated medically means having side effects to the medication?
Well,
Wild.
No, not necessarily.
So what does over-medicated mean to you in your profession?
Well, if someone were to prescribe a medication that was beyond the limit that safely can be prescribed, for example, it's possible to be toxic on, say, lithium, which is a medication that she took for a while she was at Tewksbury. And if I were prescribing, say, 1,200 milligrams of lithium twice a day, and her lithium level was toxic, as it would likely be, that would clearly be an example of over-medication.
And did you see any evidence
So
of
according
that?
to this guy, being prescribed like 5 different medicines, it should have been Trump. Can Trump be the third? Can he be the third one? How are we losing these absolute gems and Donald Trump is still breathing? Can he be the third one? According to this genius, okay, only if you're prescribed toxic amounts of medicine are you over-medicated. It couldn't possibly be multiple medications all at once that shouldn't be going on together. This guy.
Scenario in the defendant's records that she was prescribed too high a dose to make her be at a toxic level of any medication.
I think the those who were prescribing for her were responding to the symptoms that she was bringing. There was a kind of a rapid increase in the dose of Seroquel, and that higher dose of Seroquel was she did not. I believe she was ultimately prescribed at 400 milligrams, and she never ended up taking that. But as a clinician, we do our best to try and.
This is why I sped it up, guys. So
Doctor, did you see, other than the Seroquel, any medications that the amount that was prescribed,
girl, same,
you would think would be over medication?
No.
And then the Seroquel itself, you said she was prescribed up to 400 milligrams, but she reported that she never took that amount, correct?
Correct.
And after her stay at McLean Hospital, she had been weaned off of the Seroquel, correct?
That's right.
And the only medications immediately after leaving McLean Hospital were trazodone and Valium, correct?
Correct.
Dr. Tufts added a medication as a result of her appointments with the defendant in January. Is that correct?
That's right.
And what was that medication?
That was amitriptyline, also known as Elavil.
And you saw that what the initial dose of that was, correct?
Right.
Correct.
What was that?
The initial dose
I think this is
from
an
Dr. Tufts was 10
irresponsible
milligrams.
conversation right now.
Is that a high dose for an adult?
No, it's the very smallest dose possible.
And then,
and again, all medications have a completely different effect on every single individual. One person, me, okay, I can take a lot of motherfucking Advil before I even get help from it. Let's just throw that out there. Okay. If I'm having a migraine, and please, doctors, don't faint. If I'm having a migraine and I take less, if I only have Advil and I don't have like my naproxen, my prescription naproxen or something like that, I was taking 3,000 milligrams 3 or 4 times a day when I first left the cult, because that's how much pain I was in. And that wasn't even giving me full relief for the whole day. Other people take one ibuprofen, a 250 milligram ibuprofen, and they're good. They're fine. They're like, oh my goodness, I can't. Whoa, more? Oh, no. You only have the 500s. Oh, I'm going to pass. Hard pass. Okay. So saying things like, oh, it's the baby dose. Like, fuck you. You have no idea how any medication will affect you, how you will feel, what it's going to do until you take it. That is why responsible practitioners start everyone at the lowest dose of everything, and then they titrate you up. I know. I'm really scared of that, Shawini. I'm really scared of that.
Did Dr. Tufts increase that dose?
Yes.
And when was that?
After a week, she increased the dose from 10 milligrams to 20 milligrams.
And is that a significant increase in the dose?
No.
Is 20 milligrams a significant or large dose for an adult?
Not at all.
10 milligrams or 20 milligrams of amitriptyline, is that something you could even prescribe to a child?
I feel you.
Yes.
Now, doctor, based on your review of all of the records and your meetings with
Ms.
Clancy and your collateral interviews, did you form
here.
an opinion to a reasonable degree of medical certainty as to whether or not Lindsay Clancy on January 24th, 2023 could appreciate the difference between right and wrong?
Yes.
And what was that opinion?
My opinion is that she did have the capacity to appreciate right from wrong.
And what do you base that on?
Well, on a number of things.
I love you.
Ms. Clancy had just met with her psychiatrist, Dr. Tufts, the day before. And in that discussion with Dr. Tufts, as documented, she denied suicidal ideation, and she also denied thoughts of harm to others. And also there was an ongoing conversation
Morning, Angie.
Regarding future possible treatments, esketamine or TMS, which I spoke about yesterday, that could be employed to help her. Also, with regard to the appreciation between right and wrong, the planning involved.
You don't know
prior
until
to
you
the
see it in the tests, and like she didn't fucking have
the
any of
strangling
these
of her children,
tests.
I thought was significant. The searches for distance of 3V, the searches
that were done
of,
on her device.
CBS.
You don't know if she did it or
all
not.
done prior to
This
her
it's
sending
insane
fairly late
to
in the
me
afternoon a
that
text.
because it was done on her device, we're just all like, she searched that. We have no idea. Okay. The other huge piece of damning, oh, this is a great screen grab, guys, of damning evidence, okay, is that she had stopped driving for a couple weeks prior to the deaths. Yet, magically, on the day in question, she drove herself and Cora to the doctor. Did she? Was it her? Was it somebody else who looked a lot like her in a mask during COVID? Questions.
Asking her husband if he didn't mind takeout from 3B.
Wow.
And then adding on. So that planning, that preparatory planning,
He really
I thought was
does,
significant.
right?
The avoidance of witnesses. You know, a witness during a time when one is committing a crime can intervene, not just report, but also intervene. And so the fact that this was done without any witness present during a time where she had asked the potential witness to go on a longer errand, also I thought was
that part, Brown
significant.
Barbie, and good morning to you.
Concealment is another thing that I think indicated an understanding of,
Morning,
of right
Cuddly
and wrong.
Floof.
I mean, the children were strangled all in the basement, and according to Mr. Clancy, the door to his office had been closed when he arrived to the basement. Timing was really, really significant in this. There was a window of time that Ms. Clancy was aware of in which she would need to kill her 3 children as well as to kill herself, which she expected would happen. She was conscious of time and told me that she had mapped out the distance, et cetera, because she didn't want her husband to be gone too long. But in this case, I think the issue of
did she want to kill the kids, or did she want to have them live?
Rather than being a solution for her, was a problem. And so to accomplish all of this in the course of that amount of time that Mr. Clancy was gone, I thought was significant. Really
Don't forget
showed
to hit the like,
awareness
guys. Help
of
me
time.
out. Help me out.
In terms of the weapons used, now these were exercise bands, but they were all near where the children were strangled. They were placed there. That's where they kept those exercise bands. And the exercise bands were nearly identical. I mean, very similar in terms of what they could do as ligatures. And so that use of weapons that were readily available and nearby also
a nurse
was significant to me in terms of her
strangling her children
understanding
to take them to heaven with her.
And
never
planning.
would happen ever.
I
will
did
die
not
on that hill.
see any evidence that she had delusions about her children, delusions as to something wrong with them or something that required them because of a delusion
like
that they
mamma
needed
jamma.
to die. I don't recall that she ever spoke about her children in a delusional way.
No, she didn't.
Now,
Interesting.
We have a question.
Sure. Next question.
Were there other factors that influenced your opinion that she knew the difference between right and wrong?
A fucking
Yes.
lecture
And what were they?
here.
well, the phone call.
Now he knows. First of all, sir, they're all different tensions for the
in
people
the
who
afternoon,
don't exercise.
I thought was significant. So Mr. Clancy was at CVS
Right.
and he called his wife.
Called her.
And she did not pick up. She did not answer. But
Guys,
she
a missed
called
call.
him back.
But then she called back.
And had that ability to deviate from what she was doing.
Yeah, she took
to
a
be
break
able to
from killing people.
respond. And so had the presence of mind.
So
to,
clearly obscene.
to do that,
Fine.
but also to
Guys,
conceal from him
she
what was
did not
going on.
Do this. No one's stopping killing people to take a
Locking
call
the door
and just be
is
like,
another
"Oh, hey,
example.
honey,
And you certainly,
where
Ms.
are
Clancy was
you?
aware
Oh,
of
you're at
time
CVS?
and the
Okay,
limited amount of time to accomplish this.
Great. Take your time.
But by
Take
locking
your
the
time.
door,
Okay,
it
I love
kept
you.
her husband from
Kisses.
being able to enter
What?
the bedroom and therefore being able to see what had happened. So delayed that time. On arrival, her husband asked her what happened, and she did not.
If all of this happened in the time frame that they claim it happened in, why was so much of the blood already dried? No footprints, no nothing. None of the physical evidence actually points to Lindsay doing any of this. It's all Patrick's account. And then later, Lindsay, after pleading not guilty, going, I guess I did it. I mean,
Not confess. She did not tell him what happened other than I tried to kill
they
myself.
always talk directly to the
She also
jury.
did not report auditory hallucinations, but rather said that the children were in the basement.
She did not say
My
that.
belief that she expected to die and that by the time Mr. Clancy arrived, she would have successfully.
Also, if, as they are claiming, her intent was to kill the children because she wanted them to come to heaven with her, why would she tell them where they were? Wouldn't she be like, oh, meow? Like, none of that makes sense. It doesn't make no sense.
Been able to take her life.
And, sir, did you form an opinion to an unreasonable degree of medical certainty as to whether or not Lindsay Clancy on January 24th, 2023, had the ability to conform her behavior to the requirements of the law?
I have a new theory. I want to just stop this for a second. Okay, new theory based on a video that I was sent by Presumidial, which I never pronounced correctly. I apologize. A lawyer breaking it down. She was talking specifically about the 911 tape that, of course, is not public. It's sealed, which is why the audio during that time was muted, right? We couldn't hear the 911 call. Now, everyone who's heard the 911 call knows that that Lindsay was unable to speak. There was no words coming out of her mouth. Patrick was acting as if she was saying things. So then he immediately runs to the basement, claiming that Lindsay said the kids are in the basement. Upon finding the children, he lets out a guttural scream that people who have heard it are saying that could not have been faked for him to see his children and let out that scream. And then when the paramedics found him, he had removed the bands, right? But he wasn't performing CPR. He was just sitting on the couch, just like fucking disheveled. So I still think Patrick did the deed on Lindsay. Okay. With her looking in the mirror. I think the Bratz doll theory makes sense. What I think was happening when he left, he's like, okay, bye. I think Rachel was in the basement with the kids. Okay. Dressed up with the mask. And I think the plan was for them not to die. And Rachel was like, I don't want to take care of these fucking kids. And she fucking strangled them. When he found the kids, he screamed because that wasn't the plan. The plan was for Lindsay to go bye-bye. So now he's stuck with this woman who is his literal partner in crime, who he's now married to. She's pregnant. And he knows that she's willing to kill children's. to get what she wants, which is him. I think they're in this together, and I don't think she was supposed to kill the kids like that. Let me put the link in here. Let me put the link in here. This wasn't their theory. This is my theory based on watching that video. And I'll put it in the chat. And there's the video. I'll put it in our group chat too, Rock, so you can have it there. But let me pull up that video here too. Because
Lindsay has been interviewed by multiple, doesn't really know what happened.
This morning, indicating that that after she slashed,
Takes this into much more. He discovered the children's,
Okay.
importantly.
So I just want to play that part.
Surprised. Yes,
and you never listened to that tape.
I did not.
We know that all of the EMTs said that Lindsay could not speak when they got there. And everything we know about what was said comes solely and only from Patrick. If Lindsay truly was unable to speak, then how did Patrick supposedly hear her say, "I tried to kill myself"? And even more importantly, how did he know to get up and sprint to the basement when the paramedics arrived and took over the care of Lindsay? He ran straight for the basement, and the call recorded the moment when he discovered the children's bodies. He said he knew where to run to the basement because Lindsay told him that's where the children were. The defense is suggesting that Lindsay didn't tell him to go look in the basement, that even the 911 call shows that Lindsay couldn't speak. She could only grunt. I have believed since the beginning that it was a mistake to keep the 911 call sealed.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick was still on the phone with 911 when he discovered the children's bodies. And people who heard the recording in court said that his screams could not conceivably have been faked. But by preventing the public from hearing the call, the court has left the public to speculate without the actual information it would have provided. I hope they will release it. I believe strongly that.
So the point that I got out of that, because that's the first time I've heard that Patrick let out this guttural scream. That's what I think is suspicious. Not that their children were dead, but I think that Rachel did some improvisation that she wasn't meant to do. And now they're in it together. And why was he waiting? Because I think he thought the kids were fine. And he was just going to find them in the basement. Or he was going to find them in a state where he could be the rescuer. Right? And they were going to be okay. And then they weren't. Yeah. No, she couldn't have told him jack shit. Her thyroid was crushed. Exactly. Thank you. All right. Let's get back to this this guy. Oh my God.
The law.
Yes.
And what is that opinion?
Well, if we look at that day, we know that in the morning she took Cora to a pediatrician's appointment. And
did she?
All physicians receive training in psychiatry, no matter what specialty they go in. That's part of medical school. And so, like other doctors who had seen her who were not psychiatrists at appointments and whatever, the pediatrician also did not notice any unusual things about her. She did not, she was able to conform, right, to the type of behavior that a concerned mother would engage in.
Was it
she was
Lindsay
able to
there? Did she
drive
see
to the
her face that
pediatrician's
day?
office and then back.
Allegedly.
And the day was really one of significant control. The activities that she engaged in that day, spending time with her children with Play-Doh, taking them outside to build a snowman, sending photographs of the children to her mother, to her husband on Instagram, fixing lunch, and also fixing dinner for the children. So the activities of that day were controlled, as were the activities in terms of the planning that we already mentioned. So throughout the day, I mean, she was methodical and quite controlled and organized, even in that space of time that was short. There was a lot to do.
Yeah, it's almost like you couldn't actually get all that done in that time period.
And I would say that the last point with regard to conforming to the law is that when she received the phone call from her husband, she did not report to him that she was in distress, that she was having hallucinations, that she needed help. So with that phone, by calling her husband back,
that's my theory too,
and reassuring him,
that's
by the
my
fact
hypothesis.
That, yes, she knew the medication, whatever, that helped guarantee that he would continue on the errands. Had she not called him back, it would likely, or it certainly was possible that he would be concerned enough that he would return home. And so I think the phone figures in just in terms of her awareness and
the phone figures in because it was used to make it seem like she was doing stuff. Like, come on. This guy's supposedly a psychiatrist.
Strangling of her children.
Hello.
Could be concealed.
And doctor, did you form an opinion to a reasonable degree of medical certainty as to whether Lindsay Clancy on January 24th, 2023, when she strangled her children, was criminally responsible?
Yes.
And what is that opinion?
Yes. It is my opinion within a reasonable degree of medical certainty that Ms. Clancy was criminally responsible.
Move to submit Dr. Satoff's CV as amended.
Any objection?
I'd like to submit his resume.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
I'm good. Okay, Shreddington on the case.
Thank you.
Girl,
All right.
the whole world has got you.
Morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. The neighbor called in that she was outside
So,
long
Dr.
before the timeline
Satoff,
says that she should be killing the
As I
children.
understand it, you conducted your investigation or examination of Lindsay by Zoom, correct?
Did you say by June?
Sorry, Zoom. You know,
By Zoom. Okay.
Television.
I thought you said because it was the 4th of June. Yes, sir.
Okay. And can you tell us when you were first engaged by the district attorney's office to assist them in this case?
I first was informed about the case
12
I think
minutes.
in January or early February of 2026 of this year. The final contract with the university was not completed, as I recall, until April.
Maybe
And
because she wasn't.
is that a matter of significant import when you're engaged in evaluating a young woman that's charged with triple homicide and you're hired by the government? The fact that there's a contract that wasn't signed by your school?
Well, sometimes it's a long process that I don't have any control over.
Sure, I understand.
I've seen those kinds of things take a while, take longer than one would necessarily want.
So the contract with your school that you're talking about would be the contract for your compensation, for your opinion?
Well, I would never be contracted for an opinion.
Okay.
But
you're getting paid, right?
No, I'm getting paid a salary.
Yes.
The university is getting paid.
And the university is deriving a benefit monetarily from your testimony or working on this case for the DA, right?
That's right.
All right.
I'm sorry, but
And how much did the university get as a result of your involvement
is your
in this
opinion,
case?
sir.
I don't know what the hourly rate is that they charge.
So you don't know what the hourly rate for your time is, right?
Correct.
You don't know how much money was paid by the district attorney's office to the university, right?
Correct.
You don't know how much money will be paid for perhaps yesterday, today, whatever, balance
love that,
billing.
Buddha flag.
You don't know that either, right?
That's right.
You were retained or engaged in January of 26, right?
Yes.
This is an incident that occurred on January of 23, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Give me a
In
fucking
January
break.
of 23 to January of
And
26.
get the blood all over the
3
place.
years
That's right.
to being engaged on the
And
case,
not
right?
step in it
Correct.
while
And
she's
when you were
moving
engaged on the
bed.
case, at some point,
and
the university must have been
not
out of
get
the picture and you
sprayed
must have
or
started to
nothing.
communicate with the DA's office, the police, or whoever.
That's right.
And you knew about this case. It had a significant amount of publicity, right?
Passing out and being dead are two different things,
Yes.
though.
Did you know that other doctors on behalf of the district attorney's office
And
were
then
being
put the
hired
side
to
table
also
back
evaluate
after
Lindsay?
she jumped out the window and then hosed herself
I
off after she
Didn't
landed on the
specifically
ground?
know that, but that's usually the case.
Is it important to see someone, to evaluate them as close in time
It's insane.
as the incident is alleged to have occurred to your evaluation, or does it matter? In other words, is it better to see someone like, within a month or two after
Yep.
an incident, or three and a half years later?
Well, what's most important is the collateral information
Morning,
that
Jojo.
was gathered at the time to understand what was going on at the time. Ms. Clancy's behavior during her hospitalization and the like, there are records, but certainly there are benefits to an examination closer to the event.
And you would agree with me, sir, that you actually saw and questioned or interrogated Lindsay, 2 months ago?
May 29th and June 4th.
Okay.
2 months ago.
And when
June
you
is
went
2
to
months ago, sir.
interview her in purposes of your evaluation, you had already accessed the collateral information, sir?
Yes.
Before I go there, let me just review a few things here. On your CV, which the jurors will have to examine. You indicated to us your present employment.
None of it adds
You have
up.
a private practice as a psychiatrist.
No.
Okay. So where do you see patients?
Well, I see patients in the prison system.
They're your patients?
Yes.
What do you do for those people that are in jail?
In prison, within the Virginia Department of Corrections,
They're not in jail.
we
They're
have
in prison.
we have inmates within the prison system who suffer from mental illness and require assessment and treatment.
I see. So you don't have, when you said to the jury a little while ago, if I'm treating my patient and I would prescribe a particular prescription for my patient and I wouldn't tell my patient to do whatever it is you said, it's not people that go to an office or see you or even on the television to be treated.
Oh, my God,
These are people that
whatever.
are in jail, right?
Please take care
Prison.
of yourself. That
Yes.
is intense.
So there's a difference
I'm
between
so
jail and
sorry.
prison, right?
Yes,
And this would be in Virginia, is it?
correct.
So you're dealing with people that are serving hard time in the Iron Mansion, as they say. It's not a house of correction down the street, right?
I see patients who have different varying sentences. Some have life sentences.
That's not
some
what he asked.
Are
Are they in
scheduled
prison
for
or not?
release, in the coming months. So that really varies.
And you work on behalf of the state to evaluate prisoners to determine whether or not they are fit, if you will, to be released into society, right?
Once someone's sentence is over, the only way that they could be continued within a prison system would be to be committed to a psychiatric hospital. And I would say that in the 34 years that I've been treating inmates who are patients, I can only recall 2 times where when discharge came up, their condition was such that they required to be civilly committed because of mental illness.
And when you are talking as a forensic psychiatrist evaluator, would that be on behalf of the BOP, Bureau of Prisons?
I have consulted with the Bureau of Prisons on just a few occasions, but
Okay.
Bureau of Prisons is federal, and
Yeah, I know that.
most of my work has been with state.
Okay, but on your resume, sir, you indicate from 2019 through the present, that's a number of years, that you have been employed or engaged as a forensic psychiatrist evaluator on behalf of the United
I'm
States
prepping.
Bureau of Prisons
Rika.
as it relates to probation or parole. Is that in your resume?
Yes,
And that means, sir, that you evaluate inmates that are trying to get out of jail, and you would evaluate them to determine if they're appropriate for parole, right?
no,
Okay. So when you indicate on your resume from 2019 through the present, you're employed as a forensic psychiatrist evaluator for the United States Bureau of Prisons, how many of these evaluations did you do in the years from 2019 through 2026? 7 years.
I think I've done 2 or 3.
Two
or
or
three.
three?
Yes,
Okay. 2016 through 2022,
What?
you're engaged as a consultant psychiatrist for the Elson Student Health Center. What is that?
That's a student health center at the
6
University
years,
of
he
Virginia.
did 2 or
so
3
that serves
evaluations.
students who are at the university.
And like what? I mean, do you evaluate them? Do you treat them? Do you analyze them? What do you do for college students?
My work with the university and the health center really had to do with students who were having difficulty and had left the university and were interested in getting back. And so I was part of a 3-person panel to evaluate the students to see whether or not it would be appropriate to bring them back to the university.
And what, were they like thrown out of the university, or they were disciplined?
This guy is literally probably a psyop in the University of Virginia. He is just like, he's recruiting for the CIA and the FBI. That's all he's doing. He's not doing nothing else. I promise you that nobody's learning jack shit from this fucking toadstool. My God.
Plunder something? Why would you bring them back? What does that mean?
Well, if there was an event that caused concern, potentially was a threat, for example, then just for the student safety and the safety of all, they would
Nope.
leave the university in order to get the type of care that they needed. And then if they want to come back, then I was part of a panel that would evaluate these students and make a determination
recall.
about whether it was safe.
So these
for
are
them to come
students.
back.
I'm sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, that's all right.
Okay, these are students, right?
Correct.
In college, right?
That's right.
That have been thrown out or disciplined or suspended or something, and they're trying to get back into school, right?
That's right.
And when the parents of the students come, they retain you to advocate on their behalf?
No.
No, you work for the school, right?
Correct.
You evaluate them and then back the school up so that these kids can't get back into the school, right?
Can you ask that question again?
No, it's all right. 1999.
Yeah, if
to
you
the
say no,
present,
they don't
you,
come back.
Work for the United States Department of Justice, the United States Department of State, right?
Yes.
Okay. And that would be the United States Attorney's Office, the prosecutors. Like they're the state prosecutors, you got federal prosecutors, right?
Well, federal prosecutors and defenders. I've worked with both.
Well, the defenders certainly don't work for the United States Department of Justice or the United States Department of State, do they?
I was under the impression that federal public defenders were under the umbrella of the Department of Justice.
No, that's called the CJAC. That would be a totally different group of people. Those are people that defend people to try to have them not be.
It's like you don't know what
abused by
department
the
you're
system,
working
if you
for,
will.
sir.
Yeah, that question be stricken.
2015, you're a psychiatric consultant for the Virginia Office of the Attorney General. Another prosecuting arm, right?
Yes.
2013, Virginia Department of Virginia Department of Corrections, least restrictive measures for segregation. You evaluate people to determine if they should be in max or disciplinary unit as opposed to general population. Is that what you do?
Yes, I've been asked to do that.
Okay.
Oh,
And you
thank
certainly
for
don't advocate
tuning
on
in
behalf of the
Facebook.
prisoners that are being placed in seg or being placed in those closed units with higher security, right?
No, that's not true at all.
The National Security Expert 2007 to the present, Oak Ridge United Associated Universities. What is that?
Yes, that is a group that does research with the Behavioral Analysis Unit and the National Center for Analysis of Violent Crime, and I have done work with
All
them.
prosecutorial shit.
Critical Incident Analysis Group, CIAG, University of Virginia.
Yes.
Okay. Behavioral Analysis Unit, as you told us yesterday, for the FBI at Quantico, right?
That's right.
Psychiatric consultant to the Virginia Department of Corrections, medium, maximum, and supermax facilities, right?
Yes.
Continuing on with your experience, sir, as a witness in this case, you'd agree with me that you were involved as a psychiatric consultant with the Macro Task Force on-site consultation for the Australian Police Service.
Yes.
Wow.
Former Soviet Union project, Republic of Georgia, TBILISI, Georgia. You're involved with that, sir?
Tbilisi.
Tbilisi, yeah. Critical Incident Response Group for the U.S. Air Force. You're in the assessment unit.
Yes.
Crisis Management Unit, investigative support for Operation Gray Sunset, Jordan.
Correct.
Crisis Management Unit, investigative support unit, critical incident response in Montreal, Quebec.
Yes.
FBI, National Center for Analysis of Violent Crime, Operation New Hope.
Yes.
Bureau of Criminal
That's some
Investigation as
Iran shit.
BCI for the Department of the State Police. Would that be Virginia?
Yes.
You also have an interest in and have studied or written about various topics in your career, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Hostage negotiations course, crisis management unit. You were involved with that, is that correct?
Correct.
That was a number of years ago, though. I guess that was like 1996.
That's right.
But you've been involved with the FBI for a long time, right?
Yes.
Fair to say that you're a government man?
Objection.
Sustained.
Hostage negotiation course. How about Virginia Department of State Police? You involved with them as well, sir? Yes?
Yes.
Advisory positions. You deal with Islam in prison is one of your interests, right? That was a TV program or something?
Correct.
You talk about National Institute for Justice, Standing Committee to advise the Department of State on unexplained health effects on U.S. government employees and their families overseas, right?
Yes.
Analysis of pre-attack behaviors of the Las Vegas shooter behavioral analysis unit for the FBI.
Yes.
Skipping ahead, papers published. Now, when a doctor or a psychiatrist, or any doctor really, I guess, publishes a paper that's of interest to other doctors or people, that's called a learned treatise, right? Peer review?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me, what is peer review? What does that mean when you're dealing with a person's focus and interest in writing about what they're focused on?
Oh,
So a
thank you,
peer
Butterfly.
review journal is one in which once an article is submitted, a paper for publication,
we get no
that
respect
goes
for
to
that.
qualified people within the same field who review it and make determinations about the quality and whether or not it should be published. Oftentimes, there will be some edits or suggested edits from those who have expertise. It's a blind process. So if I submit a paper and it's peer reviewed, I don't know necessarily at all who is reviewing it, but it's a way to ensure quality of articles that are published. Good question. And that's just an important standard.
So it's kind of a rigorous standard to make sure that what you're writing about is reliable and would be helpful to others that are interested in it, right?
Correct.
Okay. So, for example, also it depends on where you're publishing it. You can put something in the National Enquirer, or you can put it in International Psychiatric something or other, right? Which would be a better.
I don't think the Enquirer is peer reviewed, but
so you certainly would agree with me that the International Journal of Law and Psychiatry is a respected source for learned treatises, right?
yes.
And you would agree with me, sir, that you've been in here telling this jury all about Lindsay and how she didn't hear voices or did hear voices or exaggerated and lied. Have you written any articles at all on the concept of auditory hallucinations?
No.
Have you read any of them?
Read any articles? Yes.
Yeah, okay. You certainly have heard of Dr. Philip Resnick, yes?
Yes.
And it's fair to say, tell me if I'm wrong, is he literally a world-known authority in your field for filicide or the killing of children by their parents?
Yes, he's well known.
And is he also well written as far as auditory hallucinations, the same stuff you've been testifying about?
Yes.
And he published an article in the International Journal of Law and Psychiatry, which is considered to be, if you know, a landmark article about, and I captioned, listening to voices, the use of phenomenology to differentiate malingered from genuine auditory verbal hallucinations. Now, did you read that article?
Yes.
Oh,
So it is a peer-reviewed article published in a recognized journal, correct?
Correct.
Your Honor, I would offer this under Commonwealth versus Sneed for the jury, if they wish.
Objection.
objection. Sidebar. You know what that means. You know what that means, kids. It's time to get your sidebar merch. Hoodies, shirts, mugs. Have your coffee. Sidebar. All right, we're going to fast forward, though. I can't believe she's objecting to a paper that this man says he read. What's wrong with you? That took an hour to get to the first sidebar, guys. Yesterday was 2 hours.
Made for the district attorney. Could I continue?
Sure.
Thank you. Leaving aside the peer review article and the article written by Dr. Philip Resnick, sir, for a minute, papers that you published And you have in your resume, it says peer reviewed. So that's just what we were talking about, right?
That's right.
All right. Using the moral situational action model of extremist violence to assess fluctuating levels of risk in women, the relevance of risk promotive and protective factors. What does that mean, levels of risk in women with extremist violence?
We're looking at risk assessment in terms of violence and what may be mitigating factors. In other words, decreasing the risk or the threat, or increasing, that would be enhancing factors. But this is looking at a group in terms of research.
And it's research about women that are involved with extremist violence?
Yes.
Okay. Assessing.
I don't think
right there.
that
Using the
Lindsay's in that
moral
category.
situational action violence risk model for assessing women involved in extremist violence and empirical study. Is that a similar article?
Yes.
Operationalizing theory, a moral situational action model for extremist violence. That would include guys plus women, I guess, right?
I'm sorry.
That would include men plus women, I guess, right? Because it doesn't
Yes.
doesn't say women. Suicide, terrorism, performance of violence as a public plunge. You wrote that, right?
Correct.
I
Another
get copies
interest,
for
crisis
everybody.
leadership and military community resilience. You wrote that, right?
Correct.
Painting by numbers, capturing the pathology of socio-political conflict, dealing with depression amongst Palestinians. You wrote that, right?
Correct.
Psychological challenges of bioterror. You wrote that, right?
Correct.
Trauma and
I've
intergenerations
got some on the
transmissions in Kuwait. You wrote that, right?
Yes.
Recognizing borderline personality disorder in the family practice setting. You wrote that, right?
That's right.
Mortality among
It's a
elderly
common
patients
last name,
discharged from a
actually.
state hospital. It's one of your interests, right?
That's right.
Postpartum psychosis induced by bromocriptine. That's the one that you told the jury about originally that you published 40 years ago, right?
Yes.
Okay. Morality and the radicalization of women. What is that?
Oh.
What is that? What was that all about?
Could I be refreshed with that? I'm
Sure. It's just, I mean, you can look at your resume if you wish. I'm just going through it. It's under B, books and chapters. This one is the first one, and it deals with radicalization of women.
Yeah, what is
A
that?
handbook, I guess, for terrorism studies. You remember that? It was only 4 years ago.
Yes.
Okay. Application of big data for national security, a practitioner's guide. You wrote that, right?
Correct. I was one of 4 editors.
Crisis guide of psychoactive drugs and poisons for the crisis negotiation unit. You wrote that, right?
That's right.
International handbook of threat assessment, right? Yes. Protection of children during armed political conflicts, a multidisciplinary perspective, right?
Yes.
The negotiator's guide, like when somebody's locked in a building and they're threatening to kill people or something, the negotiator's guide to psychoactive drugs, second edition. You wrote a chapter on that, right?
That's right.
The negotiator's guide. And it goes on and on with the negotiators and things like that. Terrorism negotiators, right? It's fair to say that's your focus.
Correct. Well,
Well, I know you can talk about postpartum, but I mean, I'm asking you if your resume that you prepared, I imagine, well before you were hired by this DA's office, sets forth your interest, right?
yes.
Okay.
The characterization of negotiation as trying to stop killers is not accurate.
I'm probably wrong.
Comprehensive.
I apologize.
God.
You see it on TV, the negotiators, and they're trying to help people that are being kidnapped.
On a bridge,
On
in
a bridge,
crisis,
yeah,
something like
okay.
that. So,
Just a few more, Dr. Panels and symposia. You'd agree with, let's see, national security implicate. I just want to run through a quick attachment theory, mental wellness as it relates to threat management, threat assessments, corrections, psychiatry presentations, substance abuse and misuse in prisons, perspective on providing medical support during conflict and chaos, targeted violence in the media, lessons from history, the profiler of poisons, understanding the female extremist, crisis operations, leadership,
fed.
how to
Total
fool
fed.
doctors by injecting chemicals into muscle to obtain opioids, a prison inmate comes clean. Did I read all those topics correctly, sir?
Wow.
correct.
Invited lectures, talk
has
about extremism,
no
terrorism, the future of policing,
At all.
children in long-term
In the
abductions, how
area
to
of this
prevent
case,
terrorism,
yeah.
mass shooters, U.S. prisoners, religious rights, religious radicalization, terrorism and the unknown enemy. Basically, that's what your focus is, sir, correct?
No.
And that's coupled with your experience of the 2 people or so that you recall dealing with in your it's not a practice, but working for the Bureau of Prisons or the state for Virginia, the people that are in jail, that is the sum total,
Oh,
to
thank
be
you,
respected,
Donna.
of Dr. Sadov, correct?
Yes. Public Works, go testify, everybody.
You treated two people. You've written a lot about terrorism and other issues that we went through.
That's not at all correct characterization.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Because I read your resume, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I related what you indicated to the jury, your experience when I asked you about patients or treating people. I said that right?
I've been treating patients, and I continue to for the last 40 years.
Now, in all of your experience, sir, have you ever treated a woman suffering from postpartum psychosis?
Yes.
When?
In the late 1980s and also during the 1990s when I ran
40 years ago.
I ran a unit in a state hospital.
So this would be women, 1980s, about 30 years ago, 20 years ago, depending
40,
on which one,
40.
in a prison that you were...
No.
Oh, it wasn't.
In a state hospital.
State hospital. Were they
Correct.
committed? Were they there because they wanted to be there, or were they committed by order of the court?
Yes.
Yes, what?
Usually committed.
Okay.
So
other
they
than
weren't here
that, sir,
voluntarily.
do you have any interest, writing, knowledge about postpartum depression, postpartum psychosis?
Well, it really is a requirement when you assess and treat women to be aware of their histories and making determinations. So that has continued really throughout my career, men and women.
What did you just say? Can you repeat that again? You're treating women with what?
Treating women with psychiatric problems, serious illness, psychosis.
So when you defined for the district attorney the concept of, let's say, psychosis yesterday, were you referring in any degree to a woman who has had a baby and is in a period of postpartum depression, shall we say?
Yes.
Okay. And when and how were you treating those people?
Yeah.
That was during the period of 15 years when I ran a unit of men and women who came in with serious psychiatric symptoms.
Oh, so only in the hospital.
What would you do? Would you analyze them? Would you talk to them, counsel them? What would you do while they're in the hospital?
Well, do a full assessment with a multidisciplinary team and make determinations about proper treatment, proper therapy, medications, and the like to treat the symptoms.
And generally, what would the symptoms be, sir, in your experience?
Symptoms of postpartum depression? Okay. Well, certainly within that period of time around birth or after birth.
Postpartum is only after birth,
The
sir.
DSM has a 4-week period.
It can't
Others
be before.
expand that to as much as a year. But certainly depressive symptoms
My dog has
postpartum
come to calm me down.
are
Thank you,
similar
Rika.
to the symptoms that you see in a regular depression. You
I
can
hope it's
have
not two people either.
suicidality. You can have guilt, changes in appetite, changes in weight, changes in concentration, changes in physical activity. You can also have significant problems with sleep, either sleeping too much or not enough. So these are depressive symptoms that come in the postpartum period and require assessment.
You aware, sir, in your practice or studies of the number of women that commit suicide during the postpartum period? Are you aware of that?
I can't quote you a figure.
Do you have any clue at all?
No.
Would you agree with me, sir, that one of the unfortunate components who has had a baby and is suffering from postpartum depression and living with it, that can, on a dime, turn into postpartum psychosis very quick, right?
It can be rapid.
And you indicated, sir, that there, according to the DSM, is a 4-week cutoff for symptomology, and then you mentioned that there are others. Is it the World Health Organization that you said that talks about a year?
Correct.
There are some other psychiatric organizations that talk about different periods of time, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, right?
Correct.
So when a woman is dealing with these symptoms and goes to a doctor, or even you, when you're treating, as you indicated 15, 20 years ago, you were treating, is it important to take a blood test?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
I'm sorry, my
Important to
bad.
take
Is
a
it
blood
important
test.
to take a blood test?
Is it important to take a blood test?
Yeah, you just went through the whole thing about we're going to have the team and they're going to evaluate and we're going to prescribe. I'm just asking, is it important to take a blood test of the patient?
It can be.
Based on what?
Oh, it can be.
Based on the presenting symptoms, based on the history, based on medical history. For example, if someone has recently been in a hospital and been treated, there may not be a necessity for drawing blood again, depending on the types of symptoms that you encounter. It's not a standard that everyone who presents to a psychiatrist requires blood tests.
So if you're a psychiatrist who's been practicing private practice for about, I don't know, a month, maybe two, and is prescribing antipsychotic medications, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor medications, benzodiazepine medications to a young woman who is complaining of what the young woman perceives to be difficulties postpartum, is it important to take a blood test to find out
It's 30 years old.
what, if any, prescription drugs they have on board in their system?
To check and find out, did you say what drugs are on board?
Yeah,
Thank you,
you're treating this patient, right? And they're coming off this, hypothetically with you, but they're coming off the street to see a psychiatrist for help, right?
Yes.
And if they're already been prescribed drug after drug after drug by a particular doctor with her 2 months of robust experience, is it a fair statement that you should take a blood test of that person?
Well, it really depends on the medication. There are some medications that really require blood tests because of levels and the like. Many psychotropic medications are not easily, there's not an easy test for the amount of medication in the system. So it depends on the circumstances, and it depends on the medication. I mean, for example, lithium or carbamazepine or valproic acid, those are all mood stabilizers. Certainly taking a blood test would be very important. So it depends.
Depends. Can I just ask you to spell those two drugs that you just pronounced for the stenographer, please?
Carbamazepine.
Yeah.
Carbamazepine.
Okay.
Valproic acid, VALPROIC acid, also known as valproate, VALPROATE. And did I mention lithium?
That's not a hard one. The record has to be accurate, that's all.
Understood.
Okay. Now, doctor, are there other tests in your experience that are or can be or should be administered to a young woman or a woman who's had a baby and is coming to a doctor, like Dr. Tufts, for example? Are there other tests that can be administered to determine if, in fact, that person is suffering from postpartum depression?
I'm not aware of any specific test that specifically diagnoses depression. Years and years ago.
Postpartum depression, sir.
Pardon me?
Postpartum depression is my question.
Correct.
Depression. I know you want to say it's the same thing, but postpartum depression is my question.
And you're asking if there's a blood test for postpartum depression?
I'm asking if there's any tests at all that a psychiatrist can or should administer to the patient coming to them for help.
Well, there's the Edinburgh scale, which is a self-report that patients fill out for who are postpartum.
You looked that up last night?
No.
No? You knew about the Edinburgh scale?
Yes.
You administered the Edinburgh scale?
Pardon me?
Have you administered the Edinburgh scale?
No. It's a self-report, usually given by nurses.
Nurses, okay. In any event, it's a scale that is a useful tool to determine the level or degree of depression that a person may be expressing that is suffering from postpartum depression, correct?
That's right.
And do you know what the numbers are on the scale? Like, is it 1 to 23 or is it 1 to 50? Or do you know what it is?
It's a 30-point scale.
And when you say
so 1 to 30, as I understand it.
And when you say a self-report, the patient would then advise what symptomology they're suffering at that particular point in time, right?
Correct.
And then the doctor would then determine whether or not there is a risk or an extreme risk or a deadly risk of this person committing suicide, harming someone else, whether it's a baby or anybody else, and determine what the level of their postpartum depression is, right?
Yes, it can help.
And did Dr. Tufts administer Edinburgh test to this young woman?
I know that Ms. Clancy, there were a number of Edinburgh tests that were given to her, so that there are some scores in her record. I can't recall which practitioner gave her the Edinburgh test, but I do recall that there are a number of scores within her medical record.
Right. And what was her highest score?
The highest score that I recall was 23.
23 out of 30, right?
Correct.
And over 15, the patient is in pretty serious trouble, right?
Over 15 is concerning, definitely.
Right. And she was 23. Right?
Yes, I believe so. I think they ranged from 19 to 23, just
right,
from my
they
memory.
increased as time went by, right? She was getting worse,
Correct.
right? Yeah. All right. And in addition to the regular blood test, which costs like, I don't know, about $100 to administer a blood test to see what somebody's got in their system. It's not a lot of money, right, for the insurance company.
I just didn't hear you.
Blood test. It's not a lot of money for an insurance company to pay, right, to cover.
Correct.
Okay. So do you feel that it is reasonable medical procedure for a psychiatrist dealing with a woman, the Edinburgh scale off the charts or serious trouble, who is on medication, as we went through, the antipsychotic drugs, the SSRI drugs, the amitriptylines at the end of the period of treatment with these people, the benzodiazepines, it's helpful to take a blood test, right?
It can be.
And is that, in your opinion, sir, to a reasonable degree of medical certainty, a step that should be taken by a competent doctor?
That taking blood tests can be appropriate, yes.
And then there's an additional blood test that you can use when you're dealing with a woman who's suffering from postpartum depression or coming to the doctor for help and they have significant narcotics or prescription drugs in their system, and that would be an enzyme test, right?
I'm not aware of an enzyme test being typically available or used.
Well, it costs a lot of money, doesn't it? Like it costs a couple of grand?
I don't know.
All right. In any event, sir, are there any other concerns that one would have if they're competent and they're treating somebody that's come to them for help in addition to a blood test and perhaps enzyme test to determine the metabolizing aspect of the person's system, metabolizing or processing these drugs that are in their system, the enzyme test? Are there any other tests or concerns that you have with a woman whose postpartum depression complaints come to your doorstep?
Well, depending on the presentation, sometimes it's helpful to check thyroid function. That can certainly be a cause of psychiatric symptoms.
Did they do a thyroid test on Lindsay?
No.
That's not a lot of money that the insurance company would complain about, right?
Correct.
One of the things that I just don't want to forget, sir, is that the district attorney asked you, while we're talking about the drugs, about the Lamictal, otherwise known as lamotrigine. Did I pronounce that right?
Lamotrigine, yes.
Lamotrigine. And she said that Lamictal, it has a side effect of a rash, right? You recall that, sir?
I think I said serious rash.
No, I think she said rash. You may, it's up to the jury what their recollection is, but you may have said serious rash, but we both agree. It's a serious rash, right?
Yes.
In fact, it can be fatal, right?
In very rare occasions, yes.
It can be fatal, right?
Yes, in very rare occasions.
Well, if one person out of 1,000 gets Stevens-Johnson syndrome or prurigo nodularis as a result of taking that medication, that's something that we should not tolerate as doctors, right?
Risks and benefits are something that every physician, every prescriber needs to think about.
So you've heard of, as it relates to Lamictal as a prescription drug, what's called 10. You've heard of that, right? As a side effect?
Yes.
And that means what?
It is a pretty severe reaction of the skin, as I recall, causing blistering. I mean, it's very significant.
So if you have a young woman who is a nurse, an RN, who worked for 7 years in a very prestigious hospital's labor and delivery unit, who was so nervous about drugs that were being prescribed to her that she would at night sit in her kitchen on her phone and Google all sorts of side effects of narcotics, the drugs, the Seroquel, lamotrigine, all of these drugs. Is it an unreasonable decision for her to say, I don't want to take that drug, in your opinion?
It seems like you're asking, is it reasonable to decide not to take the drug?
Yeah, that's what she did. That's what you told us yesterday. That's what the DA asked you yesterday, right?
It was a decision that she made.
And in your opinion, sir, after we just went through all of this with the TENS, with the toxic epidural necrolysis and all the rest of that, and she's a nurse, and she's looking up these drugs that she's being prescribed and says, I don't wish to take that drug, in your opinion, to a reasonable degree of psychiatric certainty based on your experience, is that a reasonable decision for her to say, I don't want to take it?
The benefits of that drug are profound, and millions of Americans take that medication and find it to be very important for them.
Doctor, you're an intelligent man. You're a doctor. You've got a lot of experience dealing with the prison system. We've already gone over all of that. You understand my question, don't you?
Yes.
Is that a reasonable decision for Lindsay to make to say, I don't wish to take that drug? Based on all the side effects, whether or not it's rare that people die, whether or not it's rare that they break out on their skin with these permanent lesions and bleeding pustules, is it reasonable for her to say, I don't want to take it?
In her mind, it was.
Yeah. And certainly, we don't want to leave it with the jury that she's so vain that she just didn't want to take something that she might get a little rash. In any event. Now, have in mind, there's no blood test, there's no enzyme test, for metabolite test, there's no thyroid test, but we still have the pill factory through Dr. Tufts and then into Dr. Gelada for that period of time. You're telling this jury that that is, in your opinion, reasonable little drug doses that she was prescribed? Is that what you're telling this jury, sir?
That it was reasonable to prescribe?
Yeah, the drugs, one right after the other, and then stopping the SSRI, not weaning off, stopping it flat out. Is that reasonable?
Objection.
Sustained, just as a form.
Is it reasonable, sir, in your opinion, to tell someone who's on an SSRI, such as
Sorry, guys. Let me fast forward. I was downstairs making myself a second cup of coffee. Here we go. But weird that it boops out right then.
Drugs off of drug prescriptions. Is that fair?
Correct.
And she, in fact, looked up Tufts, but she didn't even know who Tufts was. She went online and Googled postpartum depression and found an expert. Isn't that right?
That's my understanding.
But she was only practicing for like a month or two. Was she, in your opinion, to a reasonable degree of psychiatric certainty, an expert?
Objection.
Overruled.
It depends on the amount of training that she received, not just as a physician and a resident, but also in the area of women's health.
So the young lady goes online, Googles, trying to get help, goes to see the expert, Dr. Tufts, ultimately deals with nurse practitioner, Gelada, and counselor that worked in that medical field business, Letitia Dukes, I believe is her name.
Right.
And then she had the need to go to an emergency room and went to Mass General Hospital, right?
That's right.
And she was with her husband, Pat, right?
Correct.
And she had been complaining about lack of sleep, insomnia, right?
Yes, as I understand.
She had been complaining about inability to emote, feeling hollow, not myself, right?
Correct.
And a number of other complaints that were brought to the fore. And the hospital made a recommendation that she go to McLean Hospital, which is a locked ward mental institution in Massachusetts, and she chose not to do that, correct?
That's right.
So then what she did is went back to her home and immediately hooked up
You didn't
again,
get
if you will,
picked,
with Tufts, right?
That's right.
In December, one of the people at the South Shore perinatal unit advised her to go to a hospital that specializes in postpartum women. That would be Women and Infants Hospital in Rhode Island, right?
That's right.
And she went there like the next day, right after they called, right?
Yes, I think they fit her in pretty quickly. Was it maybe the 20th of December?
And her husband dropped her off for that day program, right?
That's right.
And she participated with the coloring, with the conferences, or with the discussions, and evaluations with the doctor, right?
Yes,
For about 8 hours. It was about an 8-hour day, right?
something like that.
And on that day, in December 20th, she was turned away, basically, right?
I don't know that I would term it turned away.
Did they help her?
By Dr. Diaz's notes, but
Did they help her?
pardon me?
Did they help her?
They felt that another program might
How
be
come
more
you could hear the
appropriate, either,
prosecution the whole time?
Inpatient.
More technical.
Them right away.
How come,
She was told,
how
for
come the
example,
technical
at McLean, you
difficulties
read
are
those
only
records, that
happening during
she should
shredding?
hook up with her provider, and she did the very next day, right?
Yes.
Okay. So she wasn't avoiding seeing healthcare professionals, was she?
No.
And she was continuing to express concern about her state of mind. She felt that her mind, her brain was being damaged. Isn't that right?
That's right.
Those are in the records, right?
Correct.
And she felt that her brain being damaged was permanent and she was never going to get better, right?
Yes.
She was complaining not just to her physicians, but she was complaining to people in her community that she was having intrusive thoughts, dark thoughts, suicidal thoughts, and homicidal ideation. She said that, correct?
The homicidal ideation, as I understand, was just voiced to her husband and her mother.
Just voiced? Is that what you just said? Just voiced? Is that like talking about the Red Sox?
Objection.
She's talking about homicidal ideation of her children.
Sustained. Next question.
Objection. Come on, Judge.
I asked you about her complaints of intrusive thoughts, complaining to doctors, complaining to friends, complaining to neighbors, family about dark, intrusive thoughts of suicide and homicidal ideation. Didn't she?
I just don't recall that she complained of homicidal ideation to healthcare providers.
Did you finish answering?
I think, Doc, you finished? Did you finish the answer? Doctor, did you finish that last answer?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Next question.
So we'll put homicidal ideation aside for a minute. Would you agree that for that period of time, short as it may have been in her life, November into December, that she was reaching out to people that would listen to her for help?
Yes.
Would you agree, sir, that she would tell, for example, neighbors or friends with the Learning Sprout School, her family, her doctors, that she was having these dark, intrusive thoughts of suicide? Yes or no?
Did you ask whether or not she was telling her children's teachers at Learning Sprouts?
Anyone that she would come in contact with at Learning Sprouts, whether it's another mother, whether it's a friend, whether it's a teacher, whether it's an administrator, whether it's somebody that just watches the kids in the playground, did she tell anyone that she had dark, intrusive thoughts to your investigation?
Those people that you named, I wasn't aware that she informed them about that.
When someone says, with her history up to this point in December, that they're having dark, intrusive thoughts to a professional, in your opinion, sir, to a reasonable degree of medical certainty, does it make sense that the professional should ask the person whether or not these are voices that they're hearing in their head, or whether or not they are just thoughts that they're having?
Thank you.
Certainly exploring that is important.
And would you agree with me, sir, that when you have a young woman that, again, by all accounts, done nothing wrong in her life, exemplary citizen, has these issues and sees the doctors, that to a reasonable degree of medical certainty, a physician should do a little bit more than asking, do you have a plan? I mean, is that accepted practice, just to say, do you have a plan? And if they say no, you're okay.
I wasn't aware that that was the only question.
Okay.
What are you aware of?
She was also told that counsel had asked you yesterday about other recommendations that were given to her by women and infants, and that you said that she did not follow through on that, but she did see Dr. Tufts pretty much the next day, right?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay, and she said that she was going to go see Dr. Tufts the next day, right?
Yes.
And just to mention, before I forget it, the Lamictal, I think you mentioned to the jury that she had a prescription for Lamictal that she was able to fill, right?
Correct.
But she didn't take it, right?
That's right.
And then Tufts told her that she meaning Tufts, was going to give her a script for Lamictal, and she said, no, I already have one, right?
It was Nurse Gelada.
Okay, sorry.
She had gotten the prescription and filled it from Dr. Tufts. And Nurse Gelada, when asked about the Lamictal, was very favorable about it and said, yes, that's great. That would be great.
Sir, I know. You want to tell me that it's a wonderful drug. Did she
No one wants to keep talking about the thing.
Gelada, I already have a script. I don't need it.
Yes.
Exactly, Two Spring.
Among other things, when people are in trouble and they're having dark suicidal thoughts, whether or not it's voices in their head, whether or not it's thoughts that they can't go on anymore, they can't live life, they have to kill themselves, many times they're told to call suicide hotlines, right?
Yes, Aspire.
Aspire. What is Aspire?
I don't know what it stands for, but it is a hotline that Ms. Clancy called twice because of her suicidal ideation.
When did she call Aspire, saying that she had thoughts of killing herself?
Yes, and I want to continue this conversation and try and let's make it better.
I can't recall specifically.
But she did call them not once but twice and told them. So she complained and told them that she was going to kill herself, right? Twice. Right?
She spoke to them about suicidality.
So here's a young woman with all of what she's been through, who now is to the verge of killing herself and reaches out to people that her health care providers told her to call for help, said that she was going to kill herself, and what did Aspire do?
Second cup of coffee, yes. I needed a second. Oh
As
my
I
God.
understand, they redirected her to her provider. They did not make a decision to
Did nothing for her.
hospitalize or to recommend hospitalization.
Thank
They didn't
you,
make a
Two Spring,
decision
for
to do
being here
anything.
And
You
speaking
can form that as a
truth to
question,
power.
please.
Did you read the records dealing with Aspire? Did they do anything other than tell her, no, you're not someone that we can help?
Go see your provider. Tough tits.
I know that they
3
were not
years later.
responsive to her suicidality because she did not indicate that she had a plan.
And did you read a transcript or listen to a tape, or how do you know that?
Wow. That doesn't even make sense. Sir, stop
I
stroking
recall
out.
it someplace in the documents, it being referred to,
Sorry, guys.
but I can't tell you exactly where.
So this, sir, obviously is a murder trial, and you are a witness for the government, and you've indicated that you've read the records. You just told this jury that in the conversation that she had with the people from Aspire that she expressed suicidal ideation and was asked if she had a plan. Where are you getting that from?
Yeah. Where did you learn that info?
I can't tell you exactly within the records.
How about the second time she called Aspire? Why would she call Aspire again if they wouldn't help her the first time?
Yeah, that's weird.
In your opinion as a psychiatrist? Looking for help?
Continuing to seek help.
And yet again, she didn't get any, did she?
That's my understanding.
To a reasonable degree of psychiatric certainty with treating the patients to the extent that you've told this jury that you have, what kind of a devastating effect would that have on a person who's ready to kill themselves that's called Aspire hotline twice and has been turned away?
Objection.
Overruled.
It could have a very serious effect.
And after being discharged from Women and Infants Hospital and reaching out to Aspire, you'd agree with me that one of the concerns that the doctor at Women's Hospital in Rhode Island had is the medication that she had been prescribed by top-end nurse practitioner Gelada, right?
Correct.
And that's one of the reasons that they could not treat her. It wasn't just that, no, we don't think that you're postpartum depressed. We just think that there's a complicated overlay involving the medications that you've been prescribed, right?
Yes.
Crazy.
And these medications obviously included selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, right?
Yes. Prozac and Zoloft.
Right.
Yeah.
And one of the things that a doctor would be concerned about, especially with a woman who's had a baby and has stopped breastfeeding the baby, is the effect that that may have on the woman, physically, mentally, emotionally, when they stop breastfeeding a baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And you've heard of gamma-aminal butyric acid, otherwise known as GABA, right?
Yes.
And can you tell us, please, what that is, sir?
I'm sorry.
Can you tell us, please, what that is, sir? What is GABA?
I believe that you're referring to Lyrica.
No, I'm asking about the actual acid in the person's system, their blood, that is gamma-amina, B-U-L-R-Y-C acid. It's got nothing to do with Lamictal. It's got nothing to do with Seroquel. It's got nothing to do with the drug industry. This is in the body. When a woman stops lactating, a woman stops breastfeeding.
Yes.
There is a physical effect on the person, the body, right?
Yes.
What is that effect?
Me too, Two Spring. Me too.
It depends on the individual. There's variable responses
Please send me that recipe.
postpartum. And as I understand, she stopped breastfeeding around by October 21st or so, when the Ativan was started.
Would you agree with me, sir, that the GABA, make it easy to type, is basically affects, its primary effect is on the neurotransmitters in the brain, right?
Yes.
Okay. That sounds pretty complicated. Neurotransmitters, I mean, is that like where you have a spark plug on a motorcycle and you can actually gap it and get it to kick over? It's a neurotransmitter in the brain? That sounds like it.
Well, yeah, it's more complicated than that.
I figured.
Obviously.
But nevertheless, it's still basically, you're talking about the actual organic matter of the brain, right?
Yes.
And would you agree, sir, that when a woman is pregnant, that there are progesterone hormone surges during that pregnancy?
Yes, there are hormonal changes.
Their hormone doesn't just change, it can actually surge, and it can be quite impactful to the person, right?
Yes.
And would you agree with me, sir, that one of the metabolites of progesterone, which has been unleashed when a woman is pregnant, with the progesterone hormone surging through their body, that you have a metabolite that actually enhances or increases the GABA activity of the neurons in the brain, right?
It can, yes.
And what is that metabolite, sir, that increases that activity in the very organ of the brain?
I can't tell you.
Is it a allopregnanolone? If you know?
No,
No, it's not, or no, you don't know?
I don't know.
Immediately after a woman has a baby, would you agree, sir, that the progesterone that we just talked about and the allopregnanolone that you don't know about drops precipitously according to the medical treatises, right?
Objection.
If he knows, he can answer that.
Yes.
And what does that mean, sir? Tell me when it says that the progesterone and the allopregnanolone in the body drops precipitously. What does that mean, precipitously?
That means rapidly.
And a sudden drop, sir, you would agree has a significant potential of causing serious GABA dysfunction, right?
That certainly would be possible.
Do you know that, or are you just agreeing with me?
I'm agreeing with you.
Okay. Do you want me to keep going?
Want to take a short break?
I don't care. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, why don't we take the morning recess at this point? All right.
Here we go. Back from break.
This court is now in session. Please be seated.
All right, counsel.
Thank you, Judge. Sir, when we left off, I believe the question was that, and you agreed, the sudden drop can cause significant GABA dysfunction. Recall that question where we broke off talking about
Yes.
the gamma? And you're familiar with the concept of, in that regard, talking about the gamma-aminal butyric acid and its effect on the progesterone and its effect on the brain synapses, or is referred to as breaks, B-R-E-A-K-S. You've heard of that term, right?
No.
You aware, sir, that when you get to the point where you have that precipitous drop in the progesterone and the allopregnanolone dropping precipitously, that in fact it constitutes and causes significant neurotransmitter malfunction, referred to as broken brakes?
Interesting.
I'm not familiar with that term.
Can you tell me what a neurotransmitter in the brain is?
You're asking what is a neurotransmitter?
Sure. I don't know.
Neurotransmitters function in the brain and have responsibility for not only aspects of mood, but also psychosis. Dopamine is
How's he a
a
psychiatrist and
neurotransmitter
he doesn't know
that
what
is
a
significant
neurotransmitter
in
is?
terms
Like, that
of
doesn't even-
psychosis when it's too high.
That doesn't even
We
make
need it.
sense to me.
But the neurotransmitters function in a number of different ways, number of different pathways. When we think about psychiatry, we really think about the mesolimbic pathway and not just dopamine, but also serotonin, norepinephrine. And so depending on the disorder, there are different medications that can be helpful in treating those disorders. So really, from the standpoint of psychiatric illness and brain dysfunction, medication can be very helpful in regulating the neurotransmitters and difficulties.
Have you heard of the broken brakes hypothesis as it relates to the impact of the precipitous drop of progesterone in the enhancement of the GABA activity? Have you heard of that concept?
No.
Would you agree, sir, that when a woman is in that position of the precipitous drop of the progesterone after ceasing the breastfeeding activity, the enhancement with the GABA...
You mean prolactin?
Prolactin. The enhancement of the GABA activity, that would be a dysfunction in the brain, right?
Certainly, mood symptoms can be significant.
Would you agree, sir, that the dysfunction in the brain caused by those two items is consistent with intrusive and hard to control thoughts and highly impulsive, uncontrollable behavior. Would you agree with that?
I would say it's possible.
And that would relate to the capacity of a person to conform their conduct. If, in fact, because of the GABA and the progesterone and all that we just talked about,
So many
door was
technical
closed, is what he
difficulties
said.
today,
Is that right?
guys.
Yes.
Where did you get that from?
I believe Patrick told me that.
Is that in your report?
Yes.
And when he told you that, when was that conversation that you had with Patrick?
When I interviewed Patrick Clancy.
Okay. So you read the grand jury minutes, right?
Yes.
You read the police report, right?
Yes.
You know that Patrick went up the stairs, and when he went up the stairs, the door was locked, right? Meaning the bedroom door, not the office door.
Correct.
And then he was able to open the door, right?
Yes. With
And
a
there
key.
there was blood on,
Right.
on the doorknob, right?
There was blood in the room on the
Yes.
on the floor.
Exactly.
Certainly.
Cuddly
We've already
blue.
talked- we'll talk about that, but there's blood on the doorknob, right? Was there blood on the doorknob, if you know?
I don't recall.
Do you recall there being
Patrick
blood drops
said.
in the area of the door itself, like, you know, where you had the threshold? But what appeared to be blood, because nobody tested it, we don't know what it is, but it appeared to be blood.
Yeah, total hearsay.
I don't recall the specific. I know that there was blood that was observed.
Okay. And you would agree that there was a lot of blood, drops, drips on the mirror, drops on the floor, drops on the nightstand.
Have a great day, Chewini. Thank you for being here.
That's my recollection.
And you looked at the photographs in your investigation and looked at the testimony,
Oh
third-party
man, we'd all
collaterals, which you
be
testified yesterday,
very
right?
drunk.
Yes.
And you told the jurors that one of the things that was of interest to you was the fact that there was a glass or a wine mug or something that had crushed narcotics or I think you used the word antipsychotic drugs crushed up inside that cup. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay.
Wine tumbler.
Thank you. How do you know they were antipsychotic drugs?
I don't recall saying that they were antipsychotic drugs.
Oh, did you say they were drugs?
I thought I said medications.
Medications. All right, so drugs, medications. And they were crushed up?
There was evidence of powder on the tumbler that Patrick told me about, and I went back and looked more closely at the photographs and saw that.
Did you look more closely at the NMS laboratory or the state police crime laboratory or any testing that was done on the powder?
Yes.
And was there a report that said that indeed it was crushed up medication?
They wouldn't.
I mean, there is.
They didn't indicate whether or not they were pills or.
Did they ever? I'm not asking about pills or powder. Did they ever test the residue?
Not that I'm aware of.
So how do we know that that's even drugs or medications or whatever word you want to use?
It was Patrick Clancy's observation.
Oh,
So
Patrick.
basically, when you're testifying,
Patrick
sir, and you're
again.
waxing on about all of the facts of the case that you took
Everybody
into
drink.
consideration prior to your opinion for the DA in this case, you're getting a lot of it from Patrick. Is that right?
Right? Jojo.
That aspect he brought up to me. Yes.
Okay. So the crushing of the pills, was there a pill crusher found in the bedroom?
Not that I'm aware of.
Was there any residue found anywhere in the bedroom?
Not that I'm aware of.
So if someone's in a psychotic state and they're going to kill themselves and they're taking the pills, yesterday you said the fistful of pills, and then the DA said, after painful questioning, that they were crushed, and you agreed that they were crushed. Wouldn't there be a residue?
A residue?
Yeah, you know what a residue is, right?
Yes.
Was there a residue on the table, on the nightstand, anywhere?
Not that I saw.
So there's no pill crusher, right?
Not that I saw.
There's no investigation by the police to determine what was in that powder, right?
Not that I'm aware of.
There's no indication that there's any residue on or in the actual nightstand next to the bed, right?
Not that I'm aware of.
Does it seem appropriate, sir, that a person would be in a psychotic state after slashing their wrist and slicing their throat and ready to propel themselves out a window would neatly put the bottles into the drawer of the nightstand? Or would they just scatter them around the bedroom floor, not caring?
I'm not aware of the exact sequence of the events in
Well,
terms
if I
of.
tell you,
Oh,
sir,
I'm not
that
aware
a
of
couple
the
of days after
timeline
this
that we've
incident,
been
I went into the
debating
home
this whole
with Patrick,
trial.
and I was able to locate in the bedroom, right next to the bed, with all the blood all over the place, this drawer, and inside this drawer would be a lot of medication
Drawer.
bottles. Does that refresh your memory on your investigation as to what happened to the bottles? They're all empty.
Yes.
Okay, so how'd they get in the drawer?
How did they get in the drawer? I don't know.
You can fingerprint them, right? Did anybody do any testing at all in this investigation? If you know, you told the jury yesterday you read all this stuff, grand jury minutes, police reports, lots of witnesses.
Yeah, I did not read that.
Oh, he didn't read that. What are you doing?
Is it your understanding, sir, that a person can be in a state of psychosis and I guess misremember something?
Yes,
Or have a false memory?
it's possible.
Did Lindsay tell you that she slashed the screen with the big turkey knife?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, did she tell you that she slashed the screen with the knife before she went out the window?
Yes, that's what she told me.
But the screen wasn't slashed, was it? No. Do you think she was malingering and lying to you at that point, sir, when she told you that?
Uh-huh.
No.
No.
Because one of the things you told this jury is that what stood out to you is I think you made reference to the fact that Lindsay betrayed her family by misleading her family. Remember saying that to this jury yesterday, sir?
Portrayed?
Betrayed is what you said.
No, I said portrayed.
So Lindsay portrayed and misled her family is what you said to the jury?
Yes.
How'd she mislead her family?
Well, in text messages, for example, in the days prior to the event, her parents had visited over that weekend, and the communications that she was providing did not give a sense of her state of mind regarding suicidality.
You kidding me? They stayed up in their house to help them.
Sustained.
They stayed at the house, didn't they?
Yes.
Why did they stay at the house?
I'm sorry.
Why did they stay at the house?
They were visiting.
They were staying at the house. They weren't just visiting.
Objection.
Overruled.
Sleep over?
As I understand.
Okay, as you understand. How long did they stay at the house and sleep over?
I think they came up for that weekend. They weren't there constantly.
No,
They came back and forth.
back and forth. Well, they stayed about 4 days, 3 nights. They stayed continuously and stayed at the Clancy home. You knew that from your investigation, right?
Yes, that's my
yes?
recollection.
The answer is yes, right?
Yes.
Okay. So they're staying at the same time that you're telling this jury that she's sending text messages basically saying, I'm okay, I guess. Is that right?
Following their departure, there were the photographs that Lindsay Clancy sent to her mother.
She didn't send her mother photographs showing that she was smiling and happy with her family, did she?
No.
I think there was a photograph of her and the children by the snowman.
No.
Nope,
Is that a bad
just
thing
the
to do
children.
that? Send a picture of you with your kids making a snowman to your parents?
No.
Is that something, in your opinion, Dr. Sadoff's opinion for the district attorney, that a person who is involved with postpartum psychosis, postpartum depression, wouldn't take a picture of the snowman and their kids, send it to their mother?
Given the prior text that you showed to her mother in terms of being in terrible distress, that she was able to do that, that was not what happened when she sent the picture with her children and the snowman, and so did not raise concerns from the mother, as I understand.
Did you talk to the mother?
Pardon me?
Did you talk to the mother?
No, I tried to.
Did you review police reports or statements? You tried to? How'd you do that? Would you call her up and say, I want to talk to you?
No.
Did the district attorney call him up?
I asked Ms. Clancy who would be good for me to speak with, and she said her husband and her family.
Okay. So based on that, what did you do?
I contacted the district attorney, and I...
Which one? Which one of these two?
Ms. Sprague.
Ms. Sprague. Okay. You spoke to Jen Sprague, and what did you say to her?
Sprague.
What is it?
Attorney Sprague.
You spoke to Jen Sprague, and what did she tell you?
Attorney Sprague.
She told me that she would reach out and attempt to see if I could interview Mr. Clancy and Ms. Clancy's family.
Okay. So did you do that? Did you reach out to her mother?
Did I reach out?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Did someone tell you
Oh,
that
you
she wouldn't
didn't?
speak to you?
Yes.
And when
Why
was this?
not?
About 2 months ago?
It would have been Probably June 5th.
This is August, right?
Pardon
This
me.
is August. We're in August right now, right?
Yes.
You called to speak to the mother in June, right? Yes? Come on.
Yes.
Okay. And when you
Thank
called
you.
the mother,
Thank
did she say?
God.
I did not call the mother.
Okay, so
I
the
did
answer
not
is you
call
did
the
not
mother.
call the mother.
did
Who
not
told
call
you
the
that
mother.
You couldn't talk to the mother.
Not the mama.
Ms. Sprague.
Attorney Sprague, please.
Right. Attorney Sprague.
Now, when Attorney Sprague called you and said you cannot talk to the mother, did it ever occur to you to reach out to me? You're being objective and all.
No.
Did you know, sir, that Lindsay had signed repeatedly every and any HIPAA form that was needed by the DA or other cops to get access to every single medical record that she had? Probably going back to when she was in grammar school. Did you know that?
Let me guess. No.
I know she's been open to it, and she told me that she would like for me to speak with them.
Right. And she's been open to pretty much anything and everything that was asked of her as far as signing documents, getting medical records, doing interviews, videotaping, making appointments to talk to guys like Mac and Helbrun and you in Tewksbury Hospital, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
All of your investigation, sir, led up to the fact that you were going to meet with Lindsay 2 months ago, 2 months prior to our beginning this 5-week triple murder trial. Is that fair?
That's true.
And you told this jury that you wanted to establish a rapport with this kid?
Yes.
Do you think for 1 minute, when you're trying to put her in jail for her life, that she wants to talk to you and have a rapport?
Next question.
Did you establish a rapport?
Get him, Red.
I believe so.
Get
She was
him, Big
cooperative?
Red.
Yes.
She was polite?
Yes.
She was pleasant?
Yes. And I asked her at the end if there was any question that I had asked that made her feel uncomfortable, and she responded in a positive way.
Okay. One of the things that you told the jury is that you felt that she was malingering, or basically lying. I guess you were telling the jury, in your opinion, that she was making stuff up to make herself look like she's crazy when she killed the children. Is that what you told the jury?
I didn't use those words.
No. You're a little more finesse than I was. But nevertheless, sir, you're talking about malingering, right?
Hello? Bueller.
Yes, the statements about the auditory
Answer's
hallucination.
yes. Excuse me.
Yes.
The answer is yes. You were
Yes.
talking about malingering is my question. Yes and no, right? That's all?
Yes.
Okay. And when you're talking about malingering, sir, basically that would be when a person finds it in their interest to basically exaggerate or lie to an investigating psychiatrist, right?
Correct.
And that would be because it's in their interest, like I want to pretend that I'm crazy so a jury thinks I'm crazy and I don't have to pay for a crime. That would be in a criminal sense, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Workman's comp cases, you know, a guy gets hurt in the truck and then they end up having interviews by guys like you to make sure to see if, in fact, they're legitimately hurt for a workman's comp claim, right?
Yes.
Or a civil case, like an auto accident, right?
Yes.
And there are tests that can be administered to people to see, from a psychiatrist standpoint, whether or not there is objective indicia of the fact that the person is indeed malingering.
Yes.
And what are those tests?
Well, I'm not a neuropsychologist, but there's
Oh.
a test called the
Why are you
SIRS,
even here?
also the TOMS test of memory. So there are certain tests that can be given by neuropsychologists to assess malingering about certain aspects, certain issues.
You've also heard, I imagine, of the MMPI, which is the Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory Test, right?
Yes.
And that's one that has different scales that you can examine to determine if somebody is lying or malingering or exaggerating or anything like that, right?
Correct.
And you know that Dr. Helbrun administered that very test to Lindsay about, I don't know, 2 months before you got there, right?
Yes.
Which would be about 4 months from now, where we stand now, right?
Something like that.
And would you agree, sir, that even though it would have been perhaps better to actually meet with Lindsay within the first 6 months after the incident, or a year even, or maybe even 2 years, but nevertheless, it still has reliability and validity, does it not, when it's administered to her?
The MMPI does, yes.
Okay. And you know, sir, that she, in fact, had no impact on the scales at all, with the exception of likelihood of suicide.
Yes, that's my understanding.
Indicating that, as far as that test that was administered to her by Dr. Helbrun, did not have any evidence at all. This kid was lying, exaggerating, suppressing anything. She was being truthful, right?
Objection.
Overruled.
About the questions that were on the MMPI, yes.
And those questions, sir, pertain to personality traits, they pertain to her recollection, they pertain to all of the investigation that Hellman was conducting, right?
Hello?
No.
Okay. So
God, it takes
when
500 years to
the
answer a
tests
question.
were administered and the results were provided, would you agree with me, yes or no, that specifically the test indicated that she was not malingering?
Yes.
Okay. You mentioned one of the other things that you were concerned. Oh, by the way, would you agree with me that Dr. Philip Resnick, as you indicated, is like a world-renowned person on filicide, or the killing of your children? He's also a person that is in the forefront pretty much worldwide on malingering, right?
Yes, he has written about that.
He knows
He's
a lot.
done more than write about it. He's basically given hundreds of lectures and many, many, many learned treatises, all about people that lie to psychiatrists to try to get away with something, right? Right?
Yes.
Okay. And you know, sir, that Dr. Resnick examined Lindsay, and one of the first things that he did was determine whether or not, in his opinion, she was malingering, lying, suppressing, exaggerating, or doing anything like that, right?
Yes.
In his opinion, sir, when you read his report after all the testing of his examination, is that she was not lying to him at all. Isn't that right?
Yes.
One of the things that you referenced, sir, was you felt that Lindsay was lying about standing at the refrigerator and making chicken McNuggets or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think she
carrots
made
or peas
those.
or something. And you felt that that wasn't right because the child had already had a bowl and was eating, I think you told the jury, chicken nuggets and vegetables or something like that, right?
Green beans.
Green beans. Have you looked at the photograph, sir, that's in evidence in this case about that bowl?
Quite some time ago.
Does that show any residue of chicken nuggets or green beans in the bowl?
Not that I recall.
No, it shows like sliced up residue of a cucumber, possibly a carrot, like vegetables.
Yeah, exactly, whatever.
Not that I recall.
So there are 3 kids, one of which is an infant who obviously pretty recently got finished breastfeeding, is on the bottle, so he's not going to eat chicken McNuggets, right?
Right.
So we have 2 young children that have to be fed, correct?
Yes.
You have 2 young children that Lindsay indicated that she was at the refrigerator getting the chicken and the vegetables so that she could feed the kids, correct?
Yes.
Told you that she would not give the kids chicken McNuggets and vegetables in a bowl, that she would have a plate, right?
Not necessarily.
So when she was at the refrigerator, sir, it's your understanding that she was not being truthful? Telling you that? Is that what you're telling the jury?
I think what I said was very inconsistent with what she had told Dr. Spinelli.
So when she's at the refrigerator and telling you, your interview, I know you imported Dr. Spinelli's report, you imported Dr. Resnick's report, you imported Dr. Zeisel's report. When you were talking to Lindsay, did she tell you she was getting food for the kids out of the fridge?
That's my recollection.
Now, with all of the understanding in your testimony, sir, about the voices, correct me if I'm wrong, you're telling this jury, in Dr. Satop's opinion, based on your experience and all of your writings and everything, that when one hears voices, they would be internal or external? To be legit. They can be either. Really? I'm sorry. I thought you said that they had to be a particular type, like not internal. If they're internal, they're probably lying. But that's not true. I'm wrong.
The voice that Ms. Clancy told me about during the time of this event, she said was external.
Okay. And is that consistent with your understanding, sir, of the research on auditory hallucinations?
Well, some auditory hallucinations can be internal.
So
for people who are psychotic.
And you were aware, sir, that Philip Resnick, Dr. Resnick, did publish the article in the International Journal of Law and Psychiatry in 2014 in conjunction with Simon McCarthy-Jones. You're aware of that learned treatise? Yes. And would you agree with me, sir, that in fact, just if some doctors might feel that hallucinations auditory must originate from the exterior as opposed to interior, would you agree, sir, that in this article, claim number 1, doctors may say, voices are typically heard as coming from inside the head, with the corollary that voices heard as coming from outside the head are atypical. Would you agree with that?
That was not my recollection of the research. That
Okay.
I understood that it was a minority of.
No, excuse me. It doesn't matter what you...
Oh, hold on. Good. Next question.
I'm going to approach you with the article. We've already established. No, go after it, right into it. Well done. Okay?
It was quite some time ago.
Sure. Let me take the papers over here just so I don't knock them over. So, if we can share that.
Do you want me to say it?
No, I want you to share it. Put it right here so I can look at it. Okay, all right. Would you agree, sir, that it says voices are typically heard? This is a claim number one. In other words, doctors feel voices are typically heard as coming from inside the head, with the corollary that voices heard as coming from outside the head are atypical. Did I read that right?
Yes.
Okay. And what does atypical mean?
Atypical means unusual.
All right. And this article is saying that there are psychiatrists that feel that voices heard outside of the head, auditory hallucinations, are indeed not legitimate. Is that fair?
That was the old original way of thinking. That was the way it was taught at one time.
Okay, so
They
we're
had to be
still in the
external for
past.
someone
We're
to
still in the
actually be
past.
Experiencing psychosis.
Okay, so we agree then, as Dr. Resnick indicates, that the research evidence does not support the claim that internally located voices are emblematic of genuine AVH,
Auditory verbal hallucinations.
and externally located voices are atypical. We cite a particular word, correct?
Yes.
For example, that says, the largest study on this question, Kathy Jones, was in 2012. That's what you're referring to as the old research, right? Oh, whenever that you were in med school, we talked about too.
Yeah, I was speaking about very old.
Okay. Basically found that of 199 psychiatric patients, 81% who have been diagnosed with schizophrenia, 38% heard both voices coming from inside.
I'm glad you
and
made it there too,
outside their
Rico.
head. Did I read that right?
You did?
All right. So when Lindsay indicated to you that she indeed heard a loud auditory hallucination, voice, deep male commanding her to do what she told you, that was external, correct?
Yes.
And you don't have any issues with that. In other words, that is very likely could be legitimate.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if you take a young woman who, as the evidence has shown, is suffering with her medical condition or psychiatric condition and seeing doctors and being prescribed medications and reaching out to people for help and suicide hotlines and people down in Rhode Island and McLean Locked Wards Institute. If I hold an opening statement, sir, would you agree that in her efforts to maintain control, she, meaning Lindsay, withheld...
Forward the question.
Yeah, if we could approach.
Sure.
Oh, sidebar. You know what that means. Get your merch, guys. There's new merch on the shop. I'm going to refresh. I just made a Reddington tee. We've got our notorious Reddington. I got to make the hoodie and of course the mug. We got to have our notorious Reddington merch. Get it. Sidebar. Let me fast forward through the sidebar.
Based on your investigation, police reports, statements of witnesses, grand jury, photographs, videos, interviews of Lindsay, review of witness statements, all of that you told us yesterday that you reviewed, that in fact on January 24th of 2023, Lindsay made a calculated decision. She was a woman who no longer liked the life she thought she wanted. It was getting harder and harder for her to control, and when she saw the opportunity to escape, she made the selfish choice to take it, and to take Cora, Dawson, and Callan first, before attempting to take her own life. Continuing on, sir, she chose to manipulate her providers, seek out a quick and easy fix when she was feeling depressed and anxious, and when she didn't get what she expected, she chose the alternate route. She would seek a different doctor. She would change medications after days. She disengaged from treatment that she didn't like the plan, and after only 4 months in treatment, she made a choice, a deliberate and intentional decision that she did not want to try anymore, And because no one could take care of her kids the way she wanted them to, she had to take them with her too. Would you agree that the evidence, in your opinion, supports that contention, sir?
Well, there's a lot in that.
Yeah, it is. Do you agree that it would support your contention, sir, or it would not?
I think that statement that you read really minimizes what she was going through.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Attorney Sprague?
Thank you, Your Honor. Sir, you were asked during cross-examination about your work as a forensic psychiatrist for the Bureau of Prisons and for the prisons in Virginia. And about that work and kind of minimizing what your experience was there. What was your work there? What did that entail?
Well, I continued to work there, and I continued to teach students in that system. Seeing patients who are inmates in a number of different facilities, men's and women's facilities over the years, and doing assessments, evaluations, making determinations about treatment, and the like, gathering information. So really treating these inmate patients as patients who have significant mental illness and really require the best treatment that we can provide in the system.
And during the course of your many, many years working in that system and treating these patients, have you treated patients with psychosis?
Yes.
And does that include treating women with psychosis?
Yes.
And how often have you done that?
I don't know, Jack. I didn't ask about it. He said two already. He's already said one.
Overall, she may have that. Go ahead.
Since 1992?
Yes.
So 34 years.
How many patients have you treated in the prison system, women patients dealing with psychosis, approximately?
Several hundred.
And are there certain common signs or symptoms that these women display who have psychosis?
Yes.
And what are those?
Well, some have delusions, fixed false beliefs about certain things, though they can present as being psychotic that way. Also, they can present with hallucinations, what we call perceptual disturbances, and generally they are, in most cases, auditory hallucinations, auditory verbal hallucinations. And they also can present with disorganized thinking, having words, making up words that have special meaning, really having a great difficulty communicating.
And you also mentioned that you all worked for a state hospital for, I think you said 15 years, is that correct?
Correct.
And did you treat patients with psychosis during those 15 years?
Yes.
And did those include women with psychosis?
Yes.
And in terms of your treatment of women with psychosis, were you responsible for diagnosing them with their underlying mental condition?
Yes.
Diagnosing psychosis as being one of their symptoms?
Correct.
And then treating the underlying condition and the symptom of psychosis for those women?
Yes.
And you did that for approximately 15 years, correct?
Yes.
And you mentioned two specific patients, females that you dealt with postpartum depression or postpartum psychosis. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And what did you learn from treating those two patients?
So those are the two patients that are mentioned in the case reports.
Which case reports?
The case report about postpartum psychosis that was written. On
the medication interaction?
Yes. Are you asking how those patients presented?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. There were, as I recall, it's been a while since I looked at the paper, but one was an 18-year-old woman who had delivered her child and had decided not to take, or that she did not want to breastfeed. And so in those days, this medication, bromocriptine, also called Parladel, was given. And we found that within, I think, just a couple of days of the time that she was given this medication, she became convinced that she had to kill her child. And I believe that she was experiencing auditory hallucinations. And she was so distressed about that she wanted to kill herself and was suicidal. And that was how she was brought to our attention. In evaluating her, we removed the Parladel, the bromocriptine, and she responded and resolved her symptoms, her psychotic symptoms, and we were able to discharge her back to her family. The other case, I believe, was another female, a bit older, maybe mid-20s, and she was also given this medication and also became psychotic. For her, it was more a manifestation of mania. She was hypersexual with her husband. She, I think, was quite hyper-religious, and she was...
Doctor, in terms of her delusions, those were more of religious delusions?
What are we talking about?
Her delusions regarding her child were religious delusions?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. And once that medication was removed from that woman, did her symptoms subside?
Yes. I think in that case, she was also given... She was so disruptive on the ward, taking her clothes off, et cetera, that she was also given antipsychotic medication for a period of time, and her symptoms resolved.
And going back to the first patient that you described, you said that she had voices instructing her to harm her child. And was it as a result of her feelings of guilt for about those thoughts and voices that she was suicidal?
Yes.
So she wanted to kill herself instead of killing her children, correct?
Yes.
Now, you were asked by Attorney Reddington about your curriculum vitae and focusing in on terrorism, and is that your sole focus? And you said no. What has been your focus over your career?
Well, from the time that I finished my residency, I've been very interested in public psychiatry. And so upon realizing the seriousness of mental illness within the prison system and the value of teaching psychiatry to students within the system, I began doing that while I was also doing work with the state hospitals, seeing patients, whatever. So I would say that of all the things that I do and consider myself, what is most important to me is working with patients. And it's the value of also being with students and having them learn
Exactly.
from these patients is going to make them better doctors, even if they don't choose to go into psychiatry. So
This guy is
I see my identity actually as a clinician, and I have patients I'm scheduled to see. I was supposed to see some yesterday, and also I'm going to see patients on Friday.
And Doctor,
I'm going to go see patients on Friday.
About,
I love that day.
The onset of postpartum depression and postpartum psychosis, and you had said that the DSM-5 lists postpartum onset within 4 weeks, correct?
Correct.
And he asked you about other organizations going up to approximately a year, correct?
That's right.
Are you aware that the World Health Organization has a clinical descriptions and diagnostic requirements for behavioral and neurodevelopmental disorders that has a section on mental and behavioral disorders associated with pregnancy, childbirth, or the puerium, P-U-E-R-P-E-R-I-M, which does that mean during or after birth?
Yes.
And that in that section by the World Health Organization, they state that mental and...
Everyone's confused.
She's not going to read that to him, and then he's going to agree with it. She can ask him if he's read
Well,
it.
let's hear the question first, and then
Yeah. What is?
I'll
Are
assume
we
there'll
even
be an
asking
objection.
questions, or are you just?
Are you aware
making
that in that
statements?
section it states that mental and behavioral disorders associated with pregnancy, childbirth, or the puerperium are syndromes associated with pregnancy or the puerperium commencing within about 6 weeks after delivery?
objection overruled? I'll allow that if you know that, Doctor.
Yes.
Okay.
And are you also aware that there's a section talking about mental and behavioral disorders associated with pregnancy, childbirth, or the puerperium with psychotic symptoms that says onset of a syndrome involving significant mental and behavioral features occurring during pregnancy or the puerperium, i.e. up to about 6 weeks following delivery, is required for diagnosis?
That's my understanding.
And that's from the World Health Organization, correct?
Yes.
Now, you were asked about whether blood testing would be appropriate for a patient, and you said that it would depend on the history of the patient, the symptoms, the medication. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Okay. Did you see anything in the records about Lindsay Clancy that would have required blood testing?
No.
You were also asked about thyroid function and how sometimes you might want to test thyroid function in a postpartum woman. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Do you are you aware that reading from Exhibit 222, I believe, that Ms. Clancy's thyroid levels were checked when she visited the South Shore Hospital emergency room on November 16th, 2022, and her levels were within normal limits?
Yes.
I just moved to submit this page from Exhibit 222, showing the thyroid levels.
All right, so that's in. It's just a follow-up of a sheet that's in. I'll allow that.
And doctor, just for the jury to know, in that page that's just been marked in as exhibit, the thyroid levels would be marked by TSH, correct?
Correct.
You were asked about lamictal and the serious rash that could occur. You said that the serious rash is rare. How rare is it?
Approximately 1 in 1,000.
And you mentioned that millions of people take lamictal with no problem at all, correct?
That's right.
And is there anything that providers do to be aware of the potential for the rash and to explain that to patients and to try to just basically keep an eye out to see if the patient's developing that symptom?
Yes.
And what is that?
It's a medication that needs to be started at a low dose.
Would it be a stream
25
of mine
milligrams,
if I weren't muted?
Only gradually moving up. Finally, after a number of weeks, to a dose as much as 200 milligrams, perhaps even more. When the medication is given in a what we call titrated, slow process, the potential for this serious rash is greatly decreased.
But you could still get it.
It really is a medication that requires a slow titration. So the patient needs to be patient with that process. But
Also,
it's
it
now
doesn't seem like any of the doctors were
one of the
patient
most
with the titration.
used mood stabilizers for bipolar disorder. That it really is a very important, valuable medicine.
I love how
for
everybody's
bipolar
just
disorder.
decided.
And you said that it's important to start at a low dose. Did you say 25 milligrams?
Correct.
And do you recall what dose Dr. Tufts wrote the prescription for Ms. Clancy?
Yes.
And what was that?
25 milligrams.
And do you recall from the records whether the plan was, if she were to take it, to titrate in the manner you described?
Correct.
And putting aside whether or not someone chooses to take the medication because of a rash, is there any significance to the person, to a patient, being prescribed a medication and then not telling that provider that they chose not to take it?
Yes.
And what is that?
Well, it really limits the provider in making other decisions. If a decision is made that a patient is not going to take a certain category of medication, it's helpful to let that provider know. Say, I've decided against it. What are some other alternatives?
Doctor, you were asked about lack of sleep potentially causing psychosis, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
And sleep was definitely an issue for Ms. Clancy in the fall leading into December of 2022, correct?
Yes.
And looking back to the McLean records, would it be accurate to state that her sleep got progressively better while at McLean?
Yes.
And then directing your memory to the text messages that Ms. Clancy had with her mother from January 7th through January 22nd of 2023, would it be accurate to state that she told her mother she was sleeping better during that time?
Yes.
Defense counsel asked you if
No, he does not.
if by all the evidence and witnesses that the defendant was a happy wife, mother, daughter, all of that, and you said no. What were you referring to when you said no?
Well, I was thinking about the paper that she filled out on September 12th of 2022, in which she expressed some of the concerns that she had.
That part.
Significant anxiety, but also, as I recall, insomnia was a concern of hers. And it was followed up with Jennifer McAllister, who worked with Dr. Tufts. And I think in Ms. McAllister's note,
I don't know.
Ms. Clancy mentioned that she had waning confidence in being able to
Why was
take care of her
Patrick
children
not
as they were
investigated by
growing up. And that,
anybody?
I think in a note of Dr. Tufts noted that she said that she found that Callan needed more attention, and that as the kids were growing older, that she was finding them more challenging.
Did she give any information did Ms. Clancy give any information about why it was more challenging as the kids got older?
I'm going to object. This is pretty far afield.
Yeah, sustained. It goes beyond cross.
So, Doctor, defense counsel asked you about Dr. Tufts and her treatment of the defendant, and mentioned repeatedly how she'd only been in the practice on her own for a few months. Do you remember that?
Yes.
In reviewing Dr. Tufts' treatment of the defendant and the medications she's prescribed and the methods she used in prescribing those medications, did you have any issues or concerns about the approach she took or what she prescribed?
No.
Elgalix or some shit.
What were your thoughts about her approach to treating this defendant?
Well, possibly because Dr. Tufts was new and had just come into practice, she was more available. And so I think she was able to see Ms. Clancy over video 14 times. And for example, when Ms. Clancy was discharged from McLean,
because she's new, it's okay. She totally fucked up.
Request from McLean.
She didn't have any
was
oversight.
That she needed immediate outpatient follow-up, and so Dr. Tufts arranged it the following day. And so there were some weeks where Dr. Tufts saw Ms. Clancy more than once a week. And I will also say that when Ms. Clancy decided to go to nurse practitioner Paul and then saw Nurse Gelada, I think early December, it might have been December 1st, she then went to Dr. Tufts, and Dr. Tufts wrote a note saying that she felt uncomfortable making prescriptions while Ms. Clancy was going to another provider. But in that note, suggested that Lamictal could be helpful. So
let me pull that up here.
Dr. Tufts was very responsive to concerns of Ms. Clancy in terms of seeing her. Was seeing her weekly and saw her on the 23rd of January, and then had another appointment the next week and had talked about future treatments, possible treatments, esketamine, as well as TMS. So perhaps the fact that she had just left her residency meant that she could be more responsive to seeing patients quickly, and she did that.
And speaking specifically to the prescribing, prescribing which medications she's prescribed, which doses, what different options she tried. Did you have an opinion based on your training and experience of Dr. Tufts' method with prescriptions?
Yes.
And what was that?
I felt that the prescribing was very reasonable.
How so?
Well, back in 2013, 2014, Ms. Clancy had taken Prozac and SSRI.
Headaches and nausea.
And it was helpful. She also took Wellbutrin and propranolol. After Dawson was born, Ms. Clancy had some significant anxiety and actually went to a doctor and was prescribed Zoloft.
Joint pain.
So this would have been in 2019.
Can cause severe depression or suicidal
thought. Then decided 2019, early 2020, but then decided not to take the Zoloft.
Interesting.
Her anxiety symptoms resolved.
Now imagine combining that with the other things she was taking.
Particularly as he got older because of COVID. But she decided that even though she had the prescription of Zoloft, she decided not to take it. The anxiety that she experienced after Callan's birth was more significant and lasted longer.
Also, every podcast that Rachel Clancy Danis was on pimping this product have all been taken down. This woman was the leading authority on this drug. Just because it was suggested by TikTok detectives, now every single person who interviewed her about this drug has removed the podcast from their website. Think about that for a minute. That even the people who interviewed her years ago are like, I don't want to have nothing to do with this woman. Think about that, guys. There are hundreds of thousands of people, multiple lawyers who have come forward to go, this case doesn't make no sense. The physical evidence does not show in any way, shape, or form that fucking Lindsay Clancy could have even done this. How is this case proceeding? No one can fathom this. I don't understand how the judge hasn't stopped this trial. I don't understand, honestly, how these prosecutors can wake up every day and look at themselves in the mirror, knowing what they fucking know. It is insane to me. Insane. How does the DA, of Massachusetts I don't even know who that is, their boss. How is that person not like, you know what, ladies? First of all, stop wearing your fucking bows to court. What's wrong with you? Second of all, I think we fucked up. I think we fucked up. I think this is going to be real bad because they are not winning. Okay.
So she went to Dr. Tufts, who got a history of Ms. Clancy having taken the Prozac and done well on it, having
no, she didn't
seriously considered Zoloft
it.
to the extent that she got a prescription for it, decided not to take it. That Zoloft at 25 milligrams, which is the lowest dose, starting that, would be a reasonable choice.
Hi, Lottie.
Really, perhaps the most reasonable choice of an antidepressant, given Ms. Clancy's history up to that point. I believe that there were only 7 pills taken. Ms. Clancy was directed to take 25 milligrams for a week,
or did you actually
and then increased to 50 milligrams, two tablets, but had, I think, maybe after 5 days.
Also, what nobody's taking into consideration, guys, okay? Another major point that I just realized that I want to share with the class. Wouldn't it be so easy for a medical doctor to get their hands on samples of all of these meds that Lindsay is on and refill the bottles to make it look like she wasn't really trying to try the drugs? Oh, there's only 7 pills taken. She barely tried it. She wasn't really feeling bad. She wasn't really trying to harm herself. Why? Ask yourself this. Besides over-medicating his wife, allegedly, why would Patrick have all of those bottles in his truck? Could it be that he brought them to his mistress at the time, his now wife, Dr. Rachel Clancy, nee Dennis, and she then put more pills into those things so that they could show the prosecution, the detective, see, she wasn't, I don't know. There's just so many pills and I couldn't keep track of it. And it just looks like she really didn't care. Now, Lindsay was on so much stuff and feeling so terrible. She didn't feel well enough to drive. Think about all of that, guys. No one was thinking in this detective office. Like, we have someone who has easy access to drugs. Okay? The evidence is showing now they were together prior to the birth of Callan. Okay? 4 months prior to his birth, they started dating. Is it really that hard to connect some dots? Put it all together? Come on. That's all. End of rant.
Taken that increase and increased from 25 to 50 milligrams, and then had the adverse reaction of insomnia, very significant insomnia.
And in terms of after seeing the effects from the Zoloft and stopping that prescription, the various prescriptions that Dr. Tufts tried with the defendant, did you have an opinion based on your training experience about whether that trial and error process and what she prescribed and what she tried with the defendant, whether that was reasonable?
Objection. Overruled.
Objection.
Yes.
And was it reasonable?
Was it reasonable?
Yes.
Yes.
And how so?
Well, Ms. Clancy, after having the insomnia, was very upset and concerned, as anyone would be. I think that was around October 21st. And so Dr. Tufts assessed her and told her to stop the Zoloft and started her on Ativan, I understand, and Benadryl. And that medication was helpful for a while. But Ms. Clancy was concerned about Ativan, benzodiazepines being addictive, and concerned about getting hooked on these types of medications. And that is a concern over the long term. And so Part of the process was to see if she could be treated effectively by decreasing the benzodiazepines,
Why are we demonizing
or maybe giving
people
her a
who have
longer
concerns
acting
about drugs?
benzodiazepine.
There's nothing wrong with that.
The medication buspirone was prescribed by Dr. Tufts, but Ms. Clancy, in a note.
Excuse me, doctor, I apologize. Can I have a standing objection to the rambling answers? This is redirect. I object.
All right. We can see, counsel. I just want to put something on the record. Counsel.
Sidebar. You know what that means. Get your sidebar merch.
Longer acting benzodiazepine. The medication buspirone was prescribed by Dr. Tufts, but Ms. Clancy, in a note.
Excuse me, doctor, I apologize. Can I have a standing objection to the rambling answers? This is redirect. I object.
All right. We can see, counsel. I just want to put something on the record. Counsel.
Another sidebar.
Summarize briefly why you thought her approach was reasonable.
According to the notes and also the emails, communications with between Dr. Tufts and Ms. Clancy, I found Dr. Tufts to be very responsive to Ms. Clancy's symptoms and concerns in really trying to make adjustments according to how Ms. Clancy was doing.
Thank you. And you were asked by defense counsel about her visit to Women and Infants Hospital and about the defendant. I believe what defense counsel asked you was that every time a doctor told the defendant to do something, she was on it immediately. Do you remember being asked that?
Yes.
And do you recall that in the Women and Infants records that they offered her 3 programs, an inpatient hospitalization, a partial hospitalization program, and an outpatient program, and the defendant said that she would talk to her provider for guidance about those programs?
Yes.
And do you recall reading in the notes and records of Dr. Tufts, nurse practitioner Gelada, that she never discussed those 3 programs with her doctor or her nurse practitioner, correct?
That's my recollection.
Now, in terms of the calls to Aspire, to the hotline for the suicide hotline, you were asked about where in the records you saw that, and I would just like to approach also from Exhibit 222, the note from December 8th, 2022 of Letitia Dukes, and if you could just review this note here and then look up when you're finished. Doctor, is this the
Good
record
Lord.
that you're referring to that gave you the information about the defendant's call to the suicide hotline?
Yes.
And reading from this page from the exhibit, page 45, it states that patient contacted Aspire Crisis Support. She met with an Aspire clinician virtually and was told that she did not meet the criteria for inpatient treatment due to not having an SI plan. That's a suicidal ideation plan, correct?
Correct.
And then reading again, Aspire clinician recommended that the patient attend a day program. The clinician said he would be sending the patient resources. Clinician informed the patient that it would be beneficial to attend an IOP or a PHP to help the patient build coping skills and build community. What's an IOP and a PHP?
Intensive outpatient procedure.
PHP is partial hospitalization program, and IOP is, I believe, an inpatient program.
Intensive
And so
outpatient
when the defendant
procedure.
called the suicide hotline, she told them she was having suicidal thoughts, correct?
IOP. This man
But
doesn't
she
know
told
what
them
a
she did not
fucking
have a plan,
IOP
correct?
is.
Correct.
And they didn't just hang
How's
up
he
on
a
her.
psychiatrist?
They sent her resources and recommended a day program and a partial hospitalization program or an inpatient program, correct?
Correct.
Move to submit these 2 pages. 45
Move
and
to
46
strike
as an
this
exhibit.
witness as an idiot.
Apart from Exhibit 222.
All right. Subject to the same objection, I'm going to that may be admitted.
197.
You were asked a lot of questions about hormone changes after pregnancy and if that can affect, and stopping breastfeeding, and if that could affect someone's mental health. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And you said something about the timing matters. Why does the timing matter?
Timing.
Well, after lactation and a postpartum period, and it may be the decision for a woman to stop lactation can occur at various times, not just during a circumscribed 1 month period. But stopping lactation causes
Sir, you don't even
a decrease
fucking know.
in prolactin levels and an increase in estrogen and progesterone. And it really depends on when someone decides to stop breastfeeding.
Oh, you don't know?
Those
Shut the fuck up.
significant hormonal changes that are tied to breastfeeding or lactation. And so that's why timing and the time is important to see at what point did breastfeeding stop and at what point are we seeing symptoms.
And doctor, with the defendant, the breastfeeding stopped sometime in October. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then looking ahead to
they're
January
both
24th,
black-hearted
2023,
bitches.
would you still be expecting to see
Thank you
hormonal
for
problems
being
from
here.
stopping breastfeeding in October in January, that many months later?
No.
Now, you were asked about the statements Patrick made regarding his interaction with
Patrick,
the
everybody
defendant when he
drank.
found her outside in the snow. And is it correct
Actually,
that
she
he
wasn't
told
in the
you he
snow.
found her
She was
and said, "What
sopping
did you do?" And she said, "I tried to kill myself."
Yes.
And did he then say, where are the kids? And she said, they are in the basement.
Yes.
Did he then tell
Exactly
you that he then
whatever.
called 911?
I don't recall exactly when he told me that he called 911.
Right.
What I recall is his statement about what she said to him.
And that was her statements to him when he immediately found her on the ground?
Correct.
And you're aware
wouldn't.
that at some point he made a 911 call, correct?
Yes.
And during that 911 call that you listened to, you didn't hear the defendant saying any words at that point, correct?
I did not.
And as a physician, are you aware that someone who's been injured can deteriorate over time?
Yes, particularly after an overdose.
And can they be speaking in one moment and then unable to speak moments later?
Yes.
Now, you were also asked about the crushed up pills and whether
This
there was
isn't
any
even-
residue on
it's not even
the
secondhand.
nightstand
This
or
is
anywhere in the
his
house that
information
the police saw,
after
correct?
3 fucking
There was
years.
no residue in the photos, correct?
Not that I saw.
But you don't know when she crushed up the pills, do you?
I don't.
If she
Nobody
had crushed
knows
them
if
up
she
earlier in
did
the day,
that.
there wouldn't necessarily
That's
be residue,
allegedly.
correct?
Correct.
If she had crushed them up days before and put the empty bottles in a drawer, there wouldn't necessarily be
In a drawer.
residue, correct?
It's sustained.
Yes.
Thank you. Objection. In a draw. Yeah, or if Patrick had done that,
There were many texts
wouldn't know
between
either.
the defendant and her mother in January, correct?
Yes.
And from January 7th
getting
until
serious now.
January
Getting classy
22nd, when Ms. Clancy's mother and father visited her at her home, the text messages clearly indicated that they were in two separate locations, correct?
Yes.
And in those text messages, the defendant repeatedly told her mother that she was doing a little bit better, sleeping's a little bit better, correct?
Yes.
does that mean cured? It's a little bit.
You were
It's
asked about
a
Dr.
little
Resnick
bit.
and how many articles and how many books he's written and how he's well known in this area, correct?
Yes.
And are you familiar with Dr. Resnick's teachings about malingering and about psychosis?
Yes.
Asked
And is it fair to say that Dr.
earlier.
Resnick teaches others that one of the red flags to look for in malingering?
Objection.
I tell him what she wants him to say.
No, hold on. Let me hear the question first.
Are you aware that one of the red flags that Dr. Resnick teaches to look for in malingering and faking hearing voices is that someone automatically obeys a command?
Yes.
That's stricken at this time. Can I see counsel?
Yeah. Sidebar, bitch. You fucking kidding me? This fucking bitch.
Now, you were asked about trying to do collateral interviews with the defendant's family, correct?
Yes.
And you had requested of our office to make arrangements to interview the defendant's parents and her sister, correct?
Yes.
Were you aware that an email was sent to,
Or that
were you
they're kinda
were you
pregnant.
aware that a phone message was left for
kinda
Paula
pregnant.
Musgrove asking if she and her husband would be willing to meet with you on June 11th, 2026, and that they did not return the call?
That's my understanding.
And are you aware that an email was sent to Allison Ozga, the defendant's sister, requesting that she meet with you? And her response
like her.
To that email was, I am awaiting a response from Kevin advising me on participating in Dr. Sackhoff's assessment. I will respond once I speak to him. Were you aware of that?
That was my understanding.
And were you aware that she did not respond after that?
Correct.
I have nothing further. Thank you.
I have nothing
You weren't aware that
further.
Kevin was on a month-long federal trial during that period of time either, were you? That'd be me.
Is that a question?
Yeah.
Can you repeat it?
You could say, maybe get a little closer to the microphone. I had problems.
Aware, sir, that during the time that Ozga, her sister, said she's waiting to hear from Kevin, and I'm the Kevin, that I was on trial on a month-long federal case out of my office. You didn't know that, did you?
I did not know that.
Did you ever think to call me directly or at my secretary, my office manager, to ask about me reaching out to these people?
Did you make a phone call?
That's all I have, Judge. Thank you.
Anything else?
No.
All right, thank you, Doctor.
Like, come on, you can't use a fucking phone. Yeah, Red is fucking done. Bye.
Attorney Sprague?
Commonwealth rests.
All right. So members of the jury, the Commonwealth has now rested their rebuttal case, so you have the evidence. All right, and so at this point, what I'm going to do is excuse you till tomorrow morning. All right, and tomorrow morning, you should be ready. We're going to have closing arguments and the legal instructions in the morning, and then
Tomorrow's going to be
the jury will
lit.
begin deliberating. All right, so that's tomorrow. So I would suggest you go home, rest up, and be ready for tomorrow. And so
And they're going to have the first day of deliberations tomorrow.
First time I can say that. You've heard all the evidence. But you haven't heard the arguments from the attorneys. You haven't even heard, like I said before, the law that you're to apply. So you still have to keep an open mind. All right? So those instructions that I gave you for the last 4 or 5 weeks, they're doubled down today. All right? Don't read anything.
Don't look
talk
at
about
nothing.
this. Don't watch anything. Don't discuss.
That's it on that today, guys. This was some spicy margarita fucking testimony today. Red did his thing. Red fucking shredded that shit up like he is getting ready to make a fucking lasagna with fresh mozzarella, okay? These people, this prosecution, Bo and Co., what the actual fuck? They are so unprofessional, so unprepared, and so not investigated. Nothing. This is a miscarriage of justice, to say the least. I really think that they should have exited stage left. They shouldn't have objected to the mistrial. They should have just let it go. But no. So tomorrow we get closing arguments. Like I said, this afternoon I am going to go get lots of shots in my head. So tomorrow I may just look like this. I don't know if I'll be able to see it, but we'll be here because I'm not missing closings. Okay. It probably will start around 8-ish, give or take, because I got to get my kid off to school because, it's school time now. So first day has happened. First day for the senior we have, and the first day of high school for the youngest. So there you go. We've got a senior and a freshman that we are doing it. Thank you guys so much for being here and going through this trial with me. Thank you to the mods, to all the members, to the replay crew, for the super chats, for everybody who got the new memberships. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. I cannot express the gratitude for every single one of you that tunes in on YouTube, TikTok, Rumble, Facebook, and Instagram. Thank you guys for being here for all of this. No, this case is not going to solve the mental health crisis. Women, as we have seen in the TikTok universe, finding this evidence, it's time for the matriarchal rise. It's time for us to rise up, women, matriarchs, and start marching through everywhere to take charge of shit, because that's how all this shit is getting solved right now. Okay? I will see you guys tomorrow morning for closing arguments. Thank you for being here. See you all